Be live. Great. Okay, here we go. Now I have to get this. I have to get this connection out. Share. Email to José. Araujo. Yeah, that's it. Subject. Link live. How do I send? Okay. How do I get out of this thing here? Up right here. Okay. Okay. Close. Hopefully that worked. And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to the score. Okay. See what happens here. And why isn't... Let me see. There we go.
Is a presentation of the National Hockey League on Sportsnet. Welcome in a lot of ways to the NHL version of Black Friday.
Here we go. Several NHL star players about to have new homes. Who's going to land where and how much is it going to cost?
The biggest prize on the free agent market.
The young man is about to get paid.
Wheeler, it shoots scores! Wheeler, Bertuzzi scores! Kane moving in, backhand shot, he scores!
Which teams will make the biggest headlines, and who will be willing to go for it all?
Like, how expensive will he be? Is it worth paying the price?
This guy can be exactly what we're missing.
Deals are ready to be made with players looking to be paid. Let the bidding begin. Hockey Central signing season is now. There are more than 300 players currently without an NHL contract, either UFAs or RFAs, and we're going to see a lot of ink getting signed today. Here's some of the top available players we're going to be keeping an eye on as signing season is about to kick off. Lots of big names. Great to have you around. Happy Canada Day. Listen, I've traveled a lot. I can tell you, Canada, it's the spot to be as far as raising a family and best people in the world, and got some of them beside me here as well. David and Amber, great to have you on July 1st. We have the Olympic champ and world champ Jennifer Bravo. We have the Stanley Cup champ and Jamal Mayers. And we have the man who scored the game-winning goal at a world championship for Canada. What was that, like 15, 16 years ago?
Yeah. The People's Champ.
People's champ. Colby
That's with you.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. There you go. There you go. So we got lots of...
What year was that? 2007. Good year.
We got some... Oh, my goodness. All right.
We went 9-0.
We'll
Not a big deal.
More from the champions in just a matter of minutes. We also have the boardroom ready to roll with all the breaking news, Tom Koskis, and the executives, Mike Fuda, as well as Jason Bukala. They'll be breaking things down for us and giving us the GM's perspectives on this day. And we have reporters embedded throughout every Canadian market across Canada, from west to east. Dan Murphy all the way to Eric Engels out in Montreal. They'll be ready to break it all down, first-hand knowledge there. And, of course, our newsbreakers. More than 32 thoughts expected from Elliot Friedman and Jeff Merrick today. As, again, lots of stories, lots of breaking news, and let's hear what they have to say as we get ready for the deadline. Okay, so some business is being taken care of. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who was bought out by the Vancouver Canucks, is on track to go play for the Florida Panthers this year at 1 year, $2.25 million. There was a lot of interest in Oliver Ekman-Larsson. I think the Maple Leafs were a team that kicked tires on him. And of course, there's a lot of talk about what the Maple Leafs might already be up to, with indications are being in about 30 minutes time. We're going to hear about Ryan Reeves, and that sounds like what we're hearing is a potential of a 3-year deal in the $1.35 million a year range. So we'll see where this all goes, Jeff.
A couple of other things as well. Keeping our eyes on Tyler Bertuzzi, who played with the Boston Bruins last year, coming over from the trade with the Detroit Red Wings. A couple of teams that pay attention to here, the Dallas Stars, who had interest in Bertuzzi at trade deadline time, also pay attention to the Toronto Maple Leafs on this one. And speaking of the Maple Leafs, perhaps have a look at Josh Bailey. To maybe join that mix. There will be some options for Josh Bailey as well. And we have our eyes, speaking of Toronto, on Max Domi. I mean, there is interest there. There is mutual interest between Max Domi, his camp, and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Can they get together on term? Can they get together on decimal point? We shall see. And a couple of buyouts. Matt Duchene bought out by the Nashville Predators. He needs $4.6 million over 3 years to be made whole. I'm told there are a number of teams that are already interested. Does he go on day one? We'll see. And also Geeky in Seattle got bought out as well. It sounds like there are as many as 10 teams interested there, David.
Oh, David, one other thing, too, just wanted to mention is just got word that Brian Dumoulin has been with the Penguins for a long time. He's not resigning, apparently. He's going to go out and hit the market. All right, so another name to keep an eye on, Brian Dumoulin. All right, our newsbreakers, Elliot and Jeff, will have a lot today. There's already been a few signings that Canadian teams will be interested in this. Klim Kostin, the former Oilers, signs with the Wings, 2 years, $4 million. Eric Brandstrom, the Senators D-man, signing a 1 year, $2 million deal. And Jacob Bernard Docker, a 2 year, $1.61 million deal with the Senators as well. Now, Austin Matthews, again, a year away from being a UFA, but all eyes really in Toronto on number 34, and maybe the first domino to fall as far as the Leafs are concerned.
Austin Matthews, the face of the franchise.
Matthews will tie and the greatest single-season goal scorer in Toronto Maple Leafs history.
We're not talking about a good player in the league. We're talking about a league player in the league.
Matthews, here it is, scores! And Austin Matthews is the first Leaf ever to go 0-60.
I think he recognizes that he could go down as the greatest player in franchise history.
Back for Matthews, scores! Matthews scores! Austin Matthews has 1 year remaining on his contract with the Leafs.
There's a ton of pressure on the city of Toronto.
That's priority number one.
My intention is to be here and all kind of focus on that in due time.
The clock is ticking.
All right, we know he's on a UFA for a bit of time, but the dynamic does change at noon today. What does this mean for the Leafs? What's going to happen here?
Well, at noon, that's when the no-move trade, the no-move clause kicks in for both Matthews and Marner, even though Marner's 2 years away from the UFA. So, I mean, there's a lot at stake here. It'll be interesting to see. We sort of talk about the core four, and I mean, David, you and I have talked at length about the Nylander situation and with Matthews, and clearly there's an interest by Matthews to stay in Toronto. But I think more than ever, I am feeling concerned about the Nylander factor, or if they need to move him to get in some of the names that Jeff just mentioned and to give you the flexibility to have a stronger roster. But Matthews, I think, is certainly the main priority. But even though, you know what, I think Nylander has been entertaining to watch and has had some composure to make some big plays in the playoffs for them. Some people might argue on that front, but there's a two-way game. But I also feel like the Matthews signing is the priority, and maybe this is the player that you need to move to have some more choices.
Yeah, it's tough to say. We always seem to pick on Nylander, and you know what? He's performed. He's played well. But there's been something missing when it comes to the playoffs. There's not enough
Jamal.
There's not enough jam. We've always wanted more.
Running out of
played well
broadcasters.
in every situation. Had a career year last year. But if you want to improve the defense, to me, that's the guy you look to move. He's a guy who certainly had a career year. There's no better point in time for me than to move him. And it's tough to say that because he's had such a great season. but you have to fix the back end. And for me, Army, that's one way you can do it. They're moving Nylander.
Yeah, and watching him too, like I think you could argue in all the criticisms around him that he was one of their best players too in the playoffs. Like every time he had the puck, he was so dangerous. So for me, looking at Nylander, looking at the money that he's making comparatively, but the intrigue after a career year of something that you could get for him to free that up too, because we all know everyone's pretty much strapped for cash right now. So to free up and open up that space, maybe they should have done this years ago, right? Maybe this was an option they should have done years ago for the Leafs, but priority obviously is Matthews.
So the salary cap barely inching along over the last 4 or 5 years. It's up to $83.5 million. So it's going to kind of be a guessing game. When you want to sign Matthews or potentially a Nylander long term, you have to factor where's the cap right now and where's it going to be. And if you're the agent, you're saying, well, it's going to be at 90 million, it's going to be at 95 million.
Yeah.
We want more, percentage per the overall salary cap, but that's a guessing game a little bit with the Leafs. That's hard to negotiate right now and navigate, isn't it?
Yes and no, but I still feel like the Leafs have a pretty good idea of where the expectation lies with the Matthews camp. That of course there's some subtleties on discussions and negotiations along the way, but I'm sure they have some different scenarios where Tree has also spoken about, yes, the interest in keeping Nylander if it's possible, but I think you just have to look at the realities where, Matthews, he's so proven and certainly that's the main focus for them. So I think you have an idea of what the Matthews camp is looking for and then figuring out, is Nylander part of that or does it just not make sense? And it gives you the option whether it's another powerful forward who can have an impact on your top six, if it's improving your D with a couple guys, or even potentially looking for a reliable goaltender. Even if it's Hellebuyck, we're saying, maybe he's going to stay in Winnipeg for a bit, they'll hold on for a little bit, but something like that opens up, is this guy that's going to be a changer, like a game changer for you if you end up moving Nylander?
Yeah, and I think with Austin and the contract situation and the cap and sliding with it and what's
Kobe Armstrong is back on Sportsnet. Wow,
too, because
that's good.
Everyone, I think we were all kind of surprised when you get a marquee player like that got the contract he got last time, at least the term anyway. It'll be interesting to see what they want to do with him this year again, trying to get that deal done and how long they can keep him there. And we see guys around the league too. It's crazy. I want guys to get paid. I want guys to make their money. Cameron, we're player guys, right? So it's like, what's a fine line of getting absolutely your bag filled or your team getting the pieces that you need to be able to, get over the hump?
Well, that's it. Now Matthews has the control. In about 20 minutes, he's going to have the control. And all the control is in his. He's going to decide what he wants to do. And it sounds like he's going to want to sign a shorter-term deal. And I think that's a good thing for the Maple Leafs as well, because then the clock gets started, right? And let's say he signs a 3 or 4 year deal. Now you have this group together. Tree Living is going to go with these guys. He's made it clear. Obviously, he's done his due diligence and made it clear that Matthews wants to be a part of it. But now he has the control. So now the dynamic shifts quite a bit because Matthews has the control. If he wants to sign for 4 or 5 years, what are they going to do? He has a no movement clause now. So I'm sure they tried to get it done before the deadline, but they didn't. And now, again, the control now is totally in Matthews' hands on what he wants to do. Does he want to be a part of this group going forward? It sounds like he does. But now the clock starts. What I think could be a positive thing is, let's say he signs 3 or 4 years. Now this group has 3 or 4 years to get it done.
All right, there's still a lot of question marks there, but one thing we know undeniably, they have 9 UFAs the Maple Leafs do, so there's going to be a change of personnel as far as the Maple Leafs are concerned. As I mentioned, we have reporters embedded with every team across Canada, including Sean McKenzie, who's standing by with the Maple Leafs brass wall, waiting to see how the dominoes do fall. Sean, what can you tell us at this time?
Well, David, what I can tell you, as you can see from behind me, that things here at the Ford Performance Center are very calm, very quiet for now. Outside Leafs Nation, though, things are abuzz. All you have to do is go on Twitter and see all the reactions to the news that the Maple Leafs intend on signing Ryan Reeves to a 3-year deal. Now, there are some that love the deal. There are others that maybe don't like it so much, but it's clear that Brad Treliving went into this free agency day with the intention of making the Toronto Maple Leafs a tougher team. Now, there are a lot of question marks surrounding this team. As you mentioned, a handful of players that will become free agents, a lot of targets that many people see envisioning in the Maple Leafs jersey, but all of that becomes a little muddy, a little unclear with what is the main topics that you guys have been talking about so far today. That is the priority to get Austin Matthews signed. That is, what is the future of William Nylander? Brad Treliving, when he was signed, made it very clear when he joined the team, his number one priority was getting Austin Matthews signed. So don't expect any major free agent signings from the Maple Leafs because their priority lays there. What do they do do with William Nylander. That's a much different decision that once again will muddy the waters today on July 1st. One thing we do know,
See, this should be taken care of ahead of
once
time.
again,
Like,
love it or hate it, it looks like they will be running.
give him a
things back.
deadline.
We'll see
Like,
how
stop
things go with
this.
William
I hate this
Nylander.
player
His
control.
modified no
Driving me
movement
nuts.
kicks in. Mitch Marner, full no move clause kicks in. Sheldon Keefe appears to be back behind the bench. So there's a lot of moving parts in this Maple Leafs team, but the core four, could they be back? All signs point to yes. David.
All right, we'll be checking back in with Sean McKenzie a little bit later as things keep rolling with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Meanwhile, let's get into our boardroom. And Kyle Bukowskis and the gang. Happy Canada Day, fellas, and it's going to be an interesting day for us as the first day of free agency goes.
Yeah, David, thank you very much. And about 30 years combined experience between scouting and front office, and that's just in the NHL between Mike Futa and Jason Bukala. So all the talk this morning seems to be around Ryan Reeves and Toronto Maple Leafs, at least in terms of UFAs, Mike. So it seems, though, in your experience, this fits the mold of Brad Treliving's vision, even long before he became a general manager.
Well, my ultimate fit was Ryan O'Reilly coming back, right? Just with the trademark that they made. It looks like he's moving on. But when you talk about fits, at a draft, just Brad Treliving, I mean, I had the joy of being assistant general manager with the Los Angeles Kings when he was with the Arizona Coyotes, and our rookie games could have been played in an octagon. So having the element of team toughness, now you're going to start to see Brad Treliving put together a team that defines the way he wants to play. Even in Calgary, they had Milan Lucic. They were a tough team, hard to play against. Now in Toronto, obviously, they got Wayne Simmons later in his career. But they talk about what the job that Shen did between the benches, policing. Ryan Reeves is going to take that to another level. Yeah, Brad has more skill on this team than he's ever had anywhere he's been. So you bring the top enforcer from the league. He's a great teammate. He's a great player. You protect your assets and you keep them healthy. Everywhere he's played, teams have played bigger. I'll tell you, people on Twitter might like it. You know, he likes it. Austin Matthews right now is where he's in Arizona. He's having an extra cocktail thinking about what it's going to be like having this guy on his bench.
So, Jason, then take us through, I guess, in the room there, if you're running pro scouting for Toronto and this gets presented to you, what's the process like in making the pitch or at least providing the information that Treliving would be looking for a player like Ryan Reeves?
So over the last month, Kyle, what's been happening is that, with the change in the leadership of the team, the direction that they're going in, Brad has started to present to his scouting staff the type of player he wants. And that started last week in Nashville at the draft, and now we're heading into free agency. So clearly the type that he thinks that we have to add that extra layer is that team toughness layer. We get it. We've heard this before. Like we've been talking about this last couple of years with the Leafs, right? So immediately someone like myself, my job now is to start to put together a wish list of, answer the bell there for him. These are the types of guys that, fit the type that you're looking for. So full disclosure, I'm not jumping over the moon over the Ryan Reeves thing, and I totally understand why they're bringing him in. I understand it. I love the player type. That's not my issue. My issue is the term. My issue is the money. And so I break it down, and then I give it to the general manager. So, just doing this last night, I looked at Noel Chari. We picked him up at the trade deadline. Seems like a good fit. I start to peel back the onion a little bit. 9 minutes and 30 seconds time on ice for Reeves. 13:40 for Achari. 244 hits, 81 blocks. Reeves, 152 and 20. So to me, Achari's a more serviceable guy. 55% of the faceoff dot. He can play the middle, can play the wing. Still add that layer of team toughness.
Yeah,
he might have been looking for more term.
Completely agree.
That's out of my snack bracket. What I'm doing, Kyle, is presenting information, right? Mm-hmm. Then I go to the back end. I start looking at Araujo Gudas. They saw firsthand how that worked in playoffs, and Araujo was running around and running people over. 312 hits, in his role there with the Florida Panthers this year. 17 minutes and 21 seconds of ice time, plus 14, 128 blocks, 79 pins. Just a menace at the hardest time of year. So these are the player types that I would present to the general manager. Obviously, your capologist, and you guys are going to go up the chain and start to make the decisions money-wise. That's not my role. But if you circle back at me and say, would you go Reeves and Achari? I'd go Achari. That would have been my recommendation.
Yeah.
Will you go Gudas and, player
Shen.
X? I'm not so sure who that is right now.
Gudas and Shen.
If it's the type.
Never going to debate who I think the better hockey player is. I think the value of what Reeves is going to bring to this particular team, and I still think there's money to sign the guy there, Achari. I love Achari as well. But I just think the way this team gets pushed around in the regular season.
Buenos dias. Welcome.
In the playoffs. And
right now,
this is not a thing that I want.
they've only signed Ekman Larson in Florida. Radko Gudas is still available. And we're watching what you're hearing in the background here is the Sportsnet live feed. and they're talking about Ryan Reeves as opposed to like Achari or even a Radko Gudas, which I kind of prefer.
We had Wade Belak in Nashville back in the day.
In Toronto,
St. Louis
obviously.
coming in. Cam Jansen, remember when Cam came in and they'd run around all over.
How's my sound? Testing. Seems to be okay. Let me know if you can.
Around and warm up, but he sat on the bench the entire game with his skates undone, just to make sure that Cam Jansen Wade was there, and he wouldn't come over and start running around and running our guys. So,
well, for $1.35 million, I hope Reaver does up his skates. Hopefully the skates are tight on Ryan Reeves. And I knew there was going to be some change with gradually coming in so a month ago when Ryan Reeves appeared to be the latest into the fold in Toronto.
All right, thanks. Much more coming from the boardroom, and they talked about Calgary. We're gonna see what Craig Conroy could be up to in his first run as the GM of the Calgary Flames. You're watching Hockey Central signing season. We're closing in on free agency.
Okay. Will this be a dud or not? We're like 20 minutes in, and just listen to Sportsnet here. I think that's a good point about Ryan Reeves. I mean, he averages around 9 minutes a night. He's a liability. I'd like to see what he averages in the third period. It probably goes way down, maybe even less than half of that, because he's just too slow on the ice. Maybe he makes some poor decisions out there. I get that he can be useful, but if you're signing him for any more, like 2 years max and under $1 million, there's no way you're giving that guy more than that. Otherwise, it's a waste. That money can go to Achari. I'd rather go to Achari and play like Achari, Gudas, Shen. And I know Reeves isn't making, big money, but you got to save every penny you can. Get rid of Connor Timmins. That frees up another $1.25 million-ish. Trade him for future considerations to Chicago. They seem to be taking everybody these days, and just go from there. Anyways, we're in commercial right now on Sportsnet. I'm just doing some social media, so I have my head down here most of the time. We're just sort of looking at Sportsnet, the score, et cetera, Twitter, all that kind of fun stuff. Let's retweet this. People are popping in and out here. Okay. All right. Okay, so far we got Ekman in Florida. We got a lot of Ryan Reeves talk in Toronto. Mike Babcock obviously signed in on Columbus. Senators re-upped on Brandstrom. And we're just sort of waiting here. We're listening to some of the analysts on Sportsnet. I say we, I mean me. And anyone who joins me here. Here we go. Top free agents from the Flames: Lucic, Lewis, Stetcher, Stone. Nothing that appealing there. Although I hear Lucic might go back to Boston. That could be fun for the rest of the league anyway.
Where we have Ryan Leslie and Eric Francis to break down what could be an interesting, if not today, certainly an interesting off-season for the Calgary Flames. Ryan.
Well said, David. And yes, Eric, we talk about everything that Craig Conroy has to manage as a first-year general manager from the draft to where we are on free agency. Let's talk about today, July 1st. How busy do you anticipate Craig and his staff being today?
Not busy at all. I mean, they don't have any
Live updates
just
and
like
instant
last year,
analysis.
On this day, they bought some depth players for the AHL farm club. I think you're still going to see that happen today. But in terms of the big club, they've only got $2.4 million on the salary cap, but they still have to fill those roles pretty much all with league minimum.
Okay, 10 minutes ago, Chris Johnson says William Nylander has submitted his 10-team no-trade list to the Leafs. That officially takes effect today. Talks on contract extension continue. And we're talking about Calgary. God, if they lose him, they've got to be in a rebuild, complete and full-on rebuild. Noah Hannafin's gone to. I would just start selling everybody and I mean, you have no choice but to retool. See if there's any takers for Markstrom, although you'd be selling low right now. Maybe before the trade deadline, that might be a better idea.
How wise is it to extend a salary or a stay for a guy who's 34 years of age? This franchise is in a fascinating scenario. For the ownership.
Okay, here we go.
Now, the reality is,
you're
not even allowed to say that in this building. So I'll call it a retool, and that's what they're in the midst of. Right
yeah, retool.
All of that in mind.
The direction this team is going. No, I think over the next 2 weeks.
Testes. All right, mic's working. Tighten this sucker a little bit.
Retooling on the fly. They said that they're going to leave a ton of roster spots open.
Retooling on the fly. It doesn't seem to work most of the time. People just do things too quick, too fast, not properly, and they end up shooting themselves in the foot. And you end up spinning your wheels for another 5-6 years. It's just, as a fan, I hate that. I mean, Buffalo has shown you how that can go, a proper rebuild or non-proper rebuild, how that can go. But it is finally seems to be paying off for them after, oh my God, 10 years.
Could be very busy, but also patience on what could be a very quiet day for the Calgary Flames on July 1st. David.
Quiet day for the Flames.
Ryan, thank you so much. And this whole sky is falling narrative, it seems to be a bit overplayed. Remember, the Flames missed the playoffs by 2 points. They had 29 one-goal losses, by far the most in the National Hockey League. Still, we have the turnover, new GM, new head coach. What should the priority be? And we'll start with you, Colby. What should the priority be for this Flames team in the next 2 months before the next?
Okay,
I'll
be back here.
Conroy, it's talking to his guys and saying, "Hey, listen, you signed here. We've got you for another year. We want you. We like you. We've got a new coach. Our goaltending wasn't that great. Huberdeau came in and didn't take off. Like, he kind of stunk. So it's like, okay, let's try to reset this.
I like Kobe. He's honest. Just cut through the BS and say what it is, right?
That's what happens. Like,
Huberdeau sucked.
Like, I'll see it camp. You're exactly right. And winning cures all. Okay, so he's going to go in there, and Connie is a great teammate, consummate professional. He's going to tell these guys, listen, I understand how frustrating it was. I understand how it was. That's now not how it's going to be under my leadership. Just be patient. We're not that far.
Looks like Auntie Ranta just signed a 1-year deal with Carolina, $1.5 million. I'm not a big fan of Jamal Myers on Sportsnet. Maybe he'll get better in time, I guess.
He has a vision for where this team is and how far off they are. And once he has that communication, I think it'll settle things down a little bit, because with all these guys asking for trades, Jim, you just can't trade them.
Nick Florian, Corey Perry. Usually the guys you hate to play against are the ones you love playing with. I'm looking forward to working with them. It's Nick Foligno from Chicago. Yeah, well, Canes roll with Kachetkov and Ranta. So who do the Flames have left on their defensive depth chart here? Hannafin, Uyghur, Gilbert, Anderson, Tanev, Zadorov. I hear Zadorov might be on the block as well. Well, if they lose Lindholm, they're dead in the water here. Is Backlund even coming back? I don't know.
All right, let's get to our board. And again, we're closing in at 12 o'clock Eastern time, which is the official beginning of.
Looks like Killhorn won't be signing with the Bolts. Okay, back with Fuda and Bukala here on Sportsnet. Still talking about Calgary.
Where's kind of the points of emphasis that you want to start with? I disagree a little bit with Jeremy because they'll trade you when they want to trade you. Like, flashback Matthew Tkachuk. These players, these RFAs that are stars, they have a lot of control on where you're going to trade them. So it's not that easy. Like for me, it's kind of like ding dong, the witch is dead. Daryl Sutter's out, so everybody's going to be happy and fun. And all these guys aren't just coming back for reasons. So it's hard when you get that many incredibly valued RFAs. So it's the players hold a lot of cards here. If I'm looking for a player, a name.
Yeah, Sutter's gone in Calgary, and a lot of the players still want out. And if they don't re-sign Lindholm, good Lord, that's I mean, I think they're already in a retool, right? I mean, Hannafin wants out too. I hear Zadorov's name in trade rumors all the time. You know, I maybe hold on to Markstrom before the trade deadline and see what you can get for him, because Calgary definitely seems like they're in the retool. Retool is, I think, too ambitious even. I think rebuild should be the word of the day for them. I'm hearing Blake Wheeler is looking at the Rangers.
They're spinning their tires a little bit right now, guys. I'm not going to deny it. Like, Pelche's ready. He should have actually, when he got a chance last year, I really like, even when he's not scoring, this is a kid that he really plays hard between the whistles, plays up and down the sheet really hard. He's in people's faces. And he brings energy to the room, energy to the group in game. When you get into the Connor series, like I saw the come up there in the 4-hole.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. When you start drafting,
Hurricanes signed Jesper Fast a 2-year deal worth $2.4 million. Jacket signed Fantilli a 3-year ELC. Let's look at a couple of things here.
Here's where I'm at with the one thing. I think it's rebuild, not retool. Okay, if somebody were to ask me.
Yes, see, this guy's Fuda. This isn't Fuda. This is the other guy. Yeah, he's mirroring my thoughts exactly. This is a rebuild. Just, you know, be a realist.
Draft picks going back, not sure exactly.
Edmondson going to the Capitals.
We're going to see where this all starts going right now.
There's a couple of other things to keep our eye on as well. We talked about Matthew Shane a couple of moments ago. Have our eyes on Ryan O'Reilly as well. No shortage of teams that would be interested in his services. And I think we're wondering about teams like the Nashville Predators. I mean, they're down. Ryan Johansson went to Colorado, and Matthew Shane was bought out. There were some center holes available there. Interesting note as well, his brother Cal, who was drafted by the Nashville Predators a number of years ago, he ended up staying in Nashville, still lives there. We know how much of a family guy Ryan O'Reilly is. Could there be a fit in Nashville? I believe Nashville also interested in JT Comfort. He's probably in the $5 million range. We'll see if that ends up anywhere. And one final note on O'Reilly. Yeah, you got
doesn't sound like Nashville.
Toronto back to Carolina 1 times 1.5.
Wonder what that means for Frederick Anderson if Kochetkov is the other goalie.
So Antti-Ranta's
Ryan O'Reilly, guys. You know, there's a number of players in the Montreal Canadiens that have approached Kent Hughes about trying to bring him in. Elliott reporting the Joel Edmondson deal from Montreal to Washington.
Really? Talk about Montreal trying to bring in Ryan O'Reilly. You also hear him to Nashville.
Luke Shen to Nashville.
No! Luke Shen to Nashville. Damn! Ugh.
Okay, all right, yes.
I wonder what that number is.
Mike, anyone want to jump in on just on Jason's point?
Oh, I'm so mad at that.
Good young players, but also guys that can actually play for you.
God.
There's one thing, and
Really wanted Toronto to grab him. He had such great chemistry with Morgan Riley. I wonder what the money was. Damn.
And with that many RFAs.
Anyways, Antti Ranta signed his save percentage was .909 in the playoffs with 6 games played. He was a .910 during the season. He played 27 games. Not bad. It's just above or just around league average.
Not the return, but the signing was 3 years at $2.75 million per year.
He's back.
3 years at $2.7 million for Schenn. That's not a.
I love the Schenn brothers, but Luke in particular, he's.
How old is Schenn?
18 years old here in Toronto. Were you with him, Jan? All right.
Yeah, he's going to live with us. Yeah. He made the better decision.
But just a great guy, and he's a guy that had 1 foot.
That's a real shame.
He was done. He went into Vancouver. He kind of battled his way back in there. He's worked on his game hard, and you can see how the pendulum is kind of swung now, where guys like him are needed, and players like him are valued to defense corps. I'm happy for him too, because he's the kind of guy.
3 years at 2 point. Was it 3 years? 2.4.
If it's over, it's over for him. He'll live in Nashville. Like he
3 years at.
I'm happy for him. It's a good fit for him.
8.25. What is that? 3.69. No, 2.7. 3 years at 2.7 AAV.
This is a good lesson for all the young hockey players.
It sucks. He's going to Nashville. God, really wanted him for the Leafs again.
And there's no better example of this than Luke Schenn. He was literally out of the league 3 years ago, and now he gets a 3-year deal. Why? Because he's a professional, because he's a winner, because he cares about his teammates and he does the right things. He's not going to be in the lineup every night. He knows that. He's not going to be sulking and complaining and whining about it. He's going to go to the young guys and make sure they feel good about themselves. He's going to be able to have the temperature of the room and help the leaders in that room, help José, help those veteran guys, lead this group.
Where's the search engine on Cat Friendly here?
And what a great example he is of doing the right things and then getting rewarded for it.
And who could also benefit Barry, right? Being there from him and then learning from Schenn. But I also think Schenn, maybe he's not going to play every night, but he's proven that he can be the reliable guy. But I don't think that we can talk enough about the character piece. And I think how important that is, and he's proven his time as Toronto, that he could go out and be great on the ice, but what he does on the bench or in the locker room.
Well, these players also decide of money over being on a contender, right? So he knows he's not going to contend or get anywhere near Stanley Cup for Nashville. So that's what the cap has really killed all these contending teams. Like, that sucks so bad. Can't tell you how mad I am as a Leaf fan to hear that.
His salary was moved out of Nashville, and now Luke Schenn's coming in. We'll be talking Jets because they're maybe the most fascinating team in the NHL and what they're going to be doing. That's coming up.
2.75. That's just, yeah. I mean, what would I have been comfortable as a Leaf fan? How old is he as well? He's 33. He's already slow. A 3-year deal. Wow. Yeah, I could see Nashville maybe next year or the year after selling him as a depth guy to a Stanley Cup contender or something. Oh. Anyways, I'll get over it. Again, we're just here feeding off of Sportsnet. This ad for Daily Faceoff on Cat Friendly is pretty annoying because I don't see the search bar here anymore, which is, yeah. Here we go. Yeah, Luke Schenn, 6'2", 227 pounds. He's 33 years old. He'll be 34 in November. So you're getting him until he's 37. I know he's made a big bounce back and he's a valuable player, but and the cap's going up by now, so Nashville doesn't, has got some cap space, especially after buying out Duchesne, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, his priorities are money right now, I guess, and you can argue that goes with the whole family situation, right? But definitely not going after a cup. God. I know there's going to be a lot of upset Leaf fans on Twitter. Hurricanes signed Jesper Fast to a 2-year deal worth 2.4 AAV. Jesper Fast, let's take a look at him on Cap Friendly here. 6 foot 191 pounds. Right winger, obviously. Now he's been with Carolina for the past few seasons. Last season, he had 29 points in 80 games. That included 10 goals. In the playoffs, in 15 games, he had 6 goals, 9 points. Not too bad as a depth guy. Yeah, we're still... Okay. Back to the board here, back to the broadcast.
In the next few hours, we already see
Let's listen in.
Signed 1 year, 1.5 with Carolina Hurricanes. Not on this board, Connor Hellebuck entering the last year of his deal. The key too could be on the move. Lots of speculation.
Lots of goalies: Bernier, Anderson, Brassois, Leon, and so on, Hellebuck, and so on and so forth. And now they're gonna get into Hellebuck. Let's check Twitter here. Jay Fresh says about NT Ranta, pretty reliable veteran goalie. We all knew that. Bing, bing. 41 minutes into the broadcast. Sportsology says, surprised Adam Fantilli signed with the Jackets, but I wish him luck. Great guy, a great player. That's funny.
Ryan O'Reilly is going to the Nashville Predators 4 times 4.5.
No. That's...
I got nothing else.
Okay. That sucks. Wow. Nashville just took 2 of Toronto's players. That really, really blows.
This is a big fish to fall.
2 guys who are not chasing a cup, going for the money.
Going back to a division he's very comfortable in.
That's really sad.
And with the Nashville Predators, we've just picked up Luke Shen. Generally,
from my perspective.
Ryan O'Reilly, 4 years. What do you make of this?
Wow.
Well, I think he got an extra year. I think other teams were probably looking to give him 3 years. So to get that 4th year, probably tipped it over the head in favor of Nashville. And
Ryan O'Reilly to Nashville.
Glaring hole in the middle. They have
4 years.
Parsonen, Novak, Glass.
Was it 4 point something?
Great example of a guy.
Yeah, $18 million contract. Tell me what the AAV is, the total amount of the contract. 4, 8, 12, 16. Yeah, $4 million a year.
Big games. He's a guy who certainly is going to help them along the way and gets rewarded with a 4-year deal. Think about it. I think St. Louis had offered him a 3 or 4 year deal at the time. He was hoping to get similar to what Kadri got. He doesn't get the max deal that he was looking for, but gets a 4-year deal on a team that he can certainly had a lot of value in a conference that he has familiar with, in the division that he's familiar with as well.
And Barry Trotz, remember, this is his first go-around. David Quayle, the illustrious 40-year career.
So far, some of these guys, some of these big free agents, O'Reilly, Shen, are chasing the money. They're not chasing the cup. Let's be honest here.
Could potentially move up and down that lineup. He starts higher. You're talking about teaching some of those young centermen in terms of their development. Then he could slide down a little bit and still be such a valuable asset and a contributor. So I think too, though, you're looking at 4 guys that have a strong presence, both physically, but the smarts too. To think about
that is a real loss for the Maple Leafs.
Big moves.
Yeah,
no trade clause kick in for, speaking of Leafs, for Matthews, Nylander, and and Marner.
Let's not forget how they played with their young guys down the stretch too. Like they had a really good finish to the season when they were supposed to be down and out.
So far, I'm not impressed with Brad Trivling. Although, you know, one could argue they don't have the money to spend on players on what they were asking, you know, and they wanted that extra year too. Maybe didn't want to give it to him. It looks like it's official. Oh, yikes. Yeah, it's official. Ryan Reeves to Toronto. 3 years. That's crazy. At 1.35. 3 years. That's awful. Guy's 36 years old. 3 years for an enforcer who's going to play 5 to 8 minutes a night. I know the intimidation factor, but that's just overpay, way over term. I'm really not liking what I'm seeing from the Maple Leafs so far.
Yeah, it's always tough following up breaking news like that. Elliot clearly doesn't get paid by the word. That was quick and dirty. We're going to try and dig into it a little bit more. You were talking about Nashville and the culture change they're trying to go through there.
Now we're talking about Nashville.
Let's start with Connor Hellebuyck, who our montage was talking quite a bit about. How tricky is it to navigate free agency when you don't really know what's going to be happening in the crease going forward because you are obviously dangling your star ball? Yeah, it's super interesting, Sean. Obviously, Connor Hellebuyck's only dominating the headlines moving forward here, but now it seems like some teams.
I have to express my disappointment on Twitter here.
If you're the Winnipeg Jets, I think you have to be looking for a number 1B. One thing we know about Connor Hellebuyck, he is a workhorse, but his workload has been heavy.
So far, I'm really disappointed.
Next season, the Jets need to get his game started.
Dissatisfied
So I would look for a 1B for the Jets
with Trevling.
Another culture carrier potentially on his way out, Mark Scheifele. Lots of rumors going around about him. Again, how do you
Performance
needs going forward when you don't know whether he's going to be
in NHL Free Agency.
5 pending UFAs for 2024 for the Winnipeg Jets. I think there's a better chance of Mark Scheifele actually starting the season with the Winnipeg Jets, and I wouldn't rule out a future contract extension.
Reeves for
42-goal season that
3 years.
Of being a point per game plus as a player.
4 question marks. Okay, 3. I'll try and not be childish about it. He's 36.
Busier than it typically is. Usually slow in Winnipeg when it comes to free agency. Ken, I think, brought his scramble board so we can have something to do in the meantime. But we'll keep you updated with whatever is happening in Winnipeg, David.
All right, thanks so much, Sean and Kevin. You're right, Kevin Shelby-Dale. He's been here before, right? Second longest tenured GM in the National Hockey League behind only Doug Armstrong. You know, again, I think they make a really salient point there. It's not going to be about the free agents. It's going to be about the maneuvering the current existing contracted players.
And now Shen and Roar to Nashville.
Come in and add a little bit of presence to your lineup up front, or even on D. Maybe it's in front of your goaltenders. Whether it's really good, if you've got like a fierce competitor, yes, you've got to navigate some space to make certain things happen, or if it's Dumoulin for Pittsburgh. Just a couple of ideas, but the Hellebuyck piece is interesting. If there is demand, you'd think that Shelby-Dale would be exploring those options, and that's going to affect big time your maneuverability within your roster. And if there is an option, you don't think you're going to be able to sign them, then to start that process at this point.
Yeah, there's no evading the fact that it's difficult to get players to come. When they were perennial conference leaders, it's easy to get guys to buy into the program. But now you can see through transition, it's not going to be easy. For me, they have to trade Hellebuyck soon because eventually everybody's going to have a seat. There's only 2 goaltenders on every team, and once the seats are taken, your options for trade partners becomes the pressure goes more.
I hope
on him to make the move.
So what do you want, though? So you're trading out about what are you looking for? Not to make players, as much as like what types of.
Hope he's got something up his sleeve here.
I like the
need an upgrade. Obviously, once you move Wheeler, to me, you have to move Shifley. And so the challenge becomes, what are we going to do?
Because
those two are attached. And now that Wheeler
his grade right now.
you have to think that Shifley wants to move on as well.
I don't disagree. I think they're going to try to re-sign Shifley. That would be a priority for them.
Yeah. What do you break the tie? What do you think?
Well, I think this is what I think. Coach runs for the hills. I'm out of here. What happened? Then guys have followed everyone. So what's the problem? What's going on? How do you fix it? Can you simply go and bring in guys like Trotsy just did, like Chen and O'Reilly, and get in some stronger personalities that are team guys like that can come and change it and show you how to do it the right way? Is that going to fix it, or do they need to completely just rip those guys down, switch it up?
That helps. But at the beginning of the year, you take away the captaincy from here, change the culture right away, and make things.
Penguins Inc. Nieto to a 2-year deal, $1.8 million contract. Give us the AAV, people. Just stop with the total amounts. It's kind of useless. Don't make me do math, right? No one wants to do math. Saturday.
And either you bring in some key people that can have strong personalities to get them back on board, or you got to get rid of Shifley. Because keeping Shifley for me right now is not going to help them take that next
step. One tweet here from Leafs Talk saying the Leafs will now have a minimum of $5.3 million tied up in Yankrock, Kampf, and Reeves over multiple years. I'm not too upset about the Kampf signing. Actually, maybe he's slightly overpaid. But he's a good player. But Yankrock, yeah, you dump him over the boat, really. He plays okay at spurts, but he's not enough for the playoffs. And Reeves is not going to be played much in the playoffs or even during the regular season. I just Arif Dean saying O'Reilly replaces Duchesne and Johansson.
Maximize the return.
They're talking about Hellebuck.
Contractual situation he is in right now, 1 year away from the well, so for me, it's very delicate. Right
Looks like Blackwood is signing with the Sharks.
Colby, all joking aside, there are some similarities to what's going on in Calgary. It's a little bit different. The circumstances, like guys in Calgary went out. It sounds like Winnipeg wants to retool or get a little bit of a different type of look in the room. For me personally, I'm sitting on Hellebuck. That's my recommendation to management. I don't think we're dealing from a position of strength right now. You look at Vegas. Look at what was going on with Vegas towards the end of the year this year. They had some.
This guy makes a lot of sense. I forget his name. It's not Fuda. It's the other guy. To me, he's one of the best analysts they've had on the show.
There's going to be a market for Hellebuck all year long. Okay, he's not going to create a distraction in the room personally. That's not his personality. We all know that trending towards a trade deadline, he's probably going to get traded. Likely going to get traded. He is going to get traded. But the value will be more at that time to a contending team who's kind of sitting there. Look at Carolina even this year. Depending if they don't bring Fred back. Like, I'm just spitballing some observations.
If Reeves doesn't drop his gloves, he's a fringe player. Ryan Reeves, right? And there's a reason he's been jumping around too. Maybe he's too big of a presence in the locker room.
I saw you guys all dragging yourself back from this.
I don't know.
And congratulations to Ryan O'Reilly and Shannon. It seems like quite the place to record. As far as the team, I've got a little bit of a different take on this because
4.5.
If you're a team that doesn't have goaltending, you may not.
4 times 4.5 for O'Reilly to Nashville.
So it's a little catch. I agree that if there's somebody there in that position, but I'm out there now in a place like Winnipeg and having spoken to them how much they value their own picks because they have so much more control over that player that they draft. As opposed to a player that has to come in the minute.
Van Riemsdyk, interesting signs with Boston. $1 million deal. 1 year, $1 million deal. That's okay. He'll obviously be a third liner. Michael McLeod signs in Jersey, $1.4 million. Nathan Bastian also with Jersey.
This guy clearly is a star goaltender, but it'd be crazy if the Ellis gets on the deadline and you're not getting anything because whatever some of these teams are writing off their company.
Don't discount that when we start talking about a type, like Toronto wants a type of player at this free agency stage. It's the same in Winnipeg. You're absolutely right. So like those guys, they have a draft.
So the Capitals actually acquired Joel Edmondson for a third and seventh round pick in 2024. Montreal's retaining 50%. And it looks like the Canucks are talking to Soucy, another defenseman I really wanted the Leafs to go after. They can't get Shen. I would love to see Soucy and Gudas. Yeah. Talk about.
$1 million.
I don't
All right, thank you. There are newspapers,
feel okay about that
and Jeff Merritt.
for
So
Boston,
JVR,
but
the 34-year-old 12 goals
that doesn't
last
really
year,
excite me
Boston Bruins.
for Bruin
Yeah,
fans
I'm
either.
surprised that they didn't get Tyler Bertuzzi done. They cleared out some space, obviously, with Paul and Foligno, but weren't able to get that done. Meanwhile, one other signing, and it was kind of clarified earlier today, and that's Ryan Reeves, 3-year deal with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Jan, we'll start with you. You've been in that, you played in this market as has Colby. They're going to love him here.
Let's talk about Ryan
How do you see him
Reeves.
fitting with the Leafs?
I think he's going to bring a brashness, a confidence to this locker room. And you look at what Bill Guerin did in bringing him to Minnesota, recognizing that the room needed some life. He's going to bring that energy to the room and give them some space. The shoulders are going to get bigger and wider. Guys are going to feel a lot more comfortable. It doesn't help for me what you're going to need in the playoffs. So he's a guy who will help you during the regular season. Hopefully it allows your players to be a lot more healthy throughout the regular season. And I like it, but for me, it doesn't address the needs you're going to have when the playoffs come.
Yeah, I disagree with that. But I think maybe he doesn't have to fight when the playoffs come around. But I feel like the physicality presence that he has.
He's 36. He's slow. What are you talking about?
Enough to play against in terms of wearing down your opponents. And here's a guy with a physical presence that can add significantly to that, both in the regular season, but also come playoffs.
And
I don't think so. I think she's nuts.
I think Sheldon Keefe, to get him more involved in his game, straight lines, forecheck, play the body. And I think this has been one of my critiques.
I see Keefe scratching him
Change the way they play.
a lot.
I think they have to look at their lineup, yes, see what they have. When you bring in a guy like that, you're going to play these ticky-tack breakout passes and perimeter stuff. You got to play straight lines, get in on forechecks, and be effective that way if you're going to have a guy like Reeves and let the big dog eat, right? You brought him in here for a reason, not to do neutral zone keep away plays. Like let him get to work, play in a more straight line fashion, play more effective that way.
Almost half an hour into official signing season, and the names are coming off the board fast and furious. Oh, hold on, you got something? You got Elliott. Blake Wheeler to the Rangers.
Blake Wheeler to the Rangers.
Elliott's dropping bombs here. So, Blake
Whoa.
Wheeler to the Big Apple. To the
Blake Wheeler to the Rangers. No specifics yet. That's a big bomb that was just dropped. Don't have any numbers here. That's good. I mean, depending on what they pay him, right? I think that's a pretty good deal. Let's see if I can get my screen a little bigger here. Is my chat going? Feel free to, say hello and stuff like that. See if I can get my chat going here. And I hate these commercials. Anyways, streaming Sportsnet here. If you don't know that already, the most recent stuff. Hey, Spedding, what's happening, man? Good to see you. Wow, holy cow. What's up? I know there's, we gotta actually talk one of these days soon. Reeves, the big pickup you're looking for? Absolutely not. Like for maybe for 1 year at like $1 million or less, okay, I can do that. But for 3 years at 1.35, come on. The guy plays like 9 minutes a night, and then in third periods, I'd like to see his average ice time because it probably drops to like 5 or 4 or something like that. It's ridiculous. He's 36 years old. The Leafs gave him 3 years. I'm sorry. Did you want the long or short version of my opinion on this? Anyway, so yeah, I mean, they can bury most of his contract if they really want to. It's really long, yeah. They can bury most of his contract, except for like $100,000 of it, from what I hear. And I could see Keefe even scratching the guy from time to time. I just like, you know, Shen and Ryan O'Reilly just signed in Nashville, and Dubas definitely wouldn't have done it for sure. I so far I gotta say I'm disappointed in Trevling's what he's done with Toronto, but we'll see what he does. We'll see how he finishes, because Radko Gudas is out there still, and Carson Soucy. Although I hear Vancouver's really high on him right now. I would love some Carson Soucy, and Gudas, of course. So if he can sign those two players on the back end, then I'll forgive him for Reeves. But yeah, we'll see. How are you doing? I know it's hard. It's really hard to chat on YouTube, but yeah, I really got to give you a call right after this happens. Probably in the next week or two, we should really chat, because I'm living on the island now. You obviously know that, right? You could probably tell from all the posts on social media. Hey, how do you like this is my trade light. Ooh. I wish it made a big noise, but it doesn't. It just kind of hums. I will definitely call you. Thanks for dropping in, and welcome. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to visiting with you. So and chatting too. Thanks so much for saying hi, man. It's so lonely here right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. I think that.
All right, Blake Wheeler, $800K for the Rangers. Blake Wheeler signs for $800,000. Are you kidding? Toronto, where were you on this? $800K? Wow. Wow. A lot of teams are firing their general managers right this instant. I want a fire button for Brad Trevling's beep, just to smack it, because Wheeler's going $800K 1 year. I mean, we all know the year after next he'll sign for more, because the salary cap is going to go up by like $7 million or something ridiculous like that. But what a big steal for New York. Is their locker room big enough to deal with Wheeler? He's back with Trouba. Almost forgot about that. From the same team, because Trouba's now the captain on that team, where before Wheeler was his captain on Winnipeg, and he's 36 years old. Had 16 goals, 55 points. Makes me wonder if he's actually going to be able to play next year. He should be. I mean, he's still useful, even if you have him on the third line. I would think he would still be useful next year, unless he has a really severe drop off this coming season.
That can make a difference. So
this is a big one.
It's so not risky at all to get a player like that.
And there's something to be said.
Yeah, I mean, the only bad thing I can see about this Wheeler signing is that if he, spreads the green disease in the locker room, if you catch my drift, if it was him in the first place that was part of Winnipeg's demise, right? Players wanting to leave. I mean, besides it being Winnipeg, no offense, Winnipeg fans, but wow. Montreal Canadiens. What do we have here?
So they've been doing some work, and of course, Joel Edmondson earlier today traded to Washington. Now, what does the future of that
Top free agents. Okay, no news out of Montreal. They're just going to a guy there. They did trade Edmondson from Montreal to the Capitals for a 3rd and 7th round pick next season. Joel Edmondson was injured for most of the last season. Before that, he was a decent defender. Maybe like a 4 to 6 guy, I'd say. But I don't know what the Caps are doing. What is Washington doing? I mean, I guess they're going to try and retool with Ovi still in the lineup. That's the idea. We saw in the draft that they picked up like Tom Wilson's light. Was it Ryan Leonard? A little ball of hate. 5 foot. I think he's like 5'10", 5'11". But he could be a real unicorn if that guy grows another few inches. So now they're chatting about Ryan Leonard. Let's refresh Twitter here. Anybody want cherry? Cherry. 4 cherry trees here. It's pretty amazing. Oh, news! Breaking news! Breaking news! Yeah, Shen got 2.75. You wanted him for the Nucks? I wanted him for the Leafs, but I guess that was like 3 years too at 2.75. It looks like Talbot might end up in LA.
The Rangers aren't getting younger, I'll put it that way. We've got Blake Wheeler and now Jonathan Quick going there. So
Jonathan Quick going to the Rangers as well. I don't mind that, I guess, for the Rangers to back up. Oh my God, I'm having a brain fart. Jonathan Quick gets 1 year at $825 with the Rangers. I mean, he's kind of washed up, but that's not a bad deal at that money for that term. That's fantastic. He can whisper in, is it Svechnikov? Oh my God, it's not Svechnikov. Shesterkin. Jesus. It's good to have him as an influence for Shesterkin. I'm talking about Jonathan Quick. They're very good cherries. We got tons of fruit trees here too, like lots of apples, lots of strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries. It's the cherries that I'm mostly interested in, though. My mother-in-law has a giant garden. It's fantastic. Pick fruit every day, vegetables. What's happening here? They're still chatting about Montreal. Oh, really? Strawberry crop. I got to come visit you. Now that you have a strawberry crop, I'm coming. That's all there is to say about it. Get the banana split in the works, buddy. Dairy free, by the way. I can't. That's a new thing. Sort of. Found out I'm dairy intolerant. Strawberries. Yeah, strawberries are awesome. I don't suppose you have a wasp problem, do you? We have a bit of a wasp issue. Are we still talking about Montreal? We are. Beer is okay. Yes, beer is very satisfactory. I'm into beer. Yeah, no, I'm not a glutard, thankfully. Not yet, anyway. I don't drink as much beer these days, but I think most beer sucks now. Like I only really drink IPA, and there's most of it's just not good.
David, I just want was Angles waiting for the live audience to laugh?
So Mackenzie Blackwood signed a 2-year deal with San Jose worth $2.35 AAV. He was injured a lot last year. Didn't have good numbers. I think it was the year before that where his numbers were really good. Yeah. So last year, he was 8.93 in 22 games. The year before that, 8.92 in 25 games. Year before that, a 9.02 in 35. Year before that, a 9.15 in 47. He's really in 2018-19, he was a 9.18 in 23 games. He was really desperate for a new start. What's happening here? Alex Killhorn?
3 years for him at 27 goals, not a bad time to have it as he enters UFA status. We know the Canadians aren't in contending zone yet, but GM Ken Hughes did lead the draft in Nashville a few days ago, saying we would like to make a push.
Did Killhorn just sign somewhere?
Awesome.
All right.
I love that Killorn call. That was a great call.
That was good.
Yeah.
And
All of us looked at each other when Book said it. We're like, that's the guy.
And guess which UFA had the most points of any UFA available this year? Alex Killorn, Harvard guy. Right? Harvard guy?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right, hold on. We got some breaking news. We get back to our newsbreakers. 32 thoughts. What do you guys have?
It's not quite there yet, but it is inching closer. Carolina and Freddie Anderson. So it looks like both the goaltenders will re-sign.
Looks like
Ryan's already done.
Carolina is going to sign Freddie Anderson after all.
To their management group. Full respect to their management group. They waited till today. We actually could use that. Even though they re-signed their guys, they waited till the signing season officially begins. We like that. We're going to talk. Was it Mike Babcock you wanted to get into? Yeah. Okay. So the Columbus Blue Jackets, before the show started, officially did name Mike Babcock their new head coach. So let's take a listen to what he had to say as he was introduced as the next head coach.
Oh, they're talking to Babcock. Oh, we got to listen to
Well, I
this.
think it's real important for all of us as people. We got to change every year. We got to grow. I always say the off season was a chance to reinvent yourself. But what's happened to me over the last 3.5 years? It's been a thrill to be around my family so much. But I got a couple of real good opportunities. I got to work at the University of Vermont. I got to work at the University of Saskatchewan. And,
Is he going to apologize?
in doing that, I got to
Definitely not. Will he refer to himself as a third person?
I started at Red Deer College.
At least
Find
once.
joy in it, and you find what worked for you. When I first started coaching, I didn't know anything about coaching, but I knew if you played hard and you had fun, you'd have a lot of success. And so my experience at the U of S with the people there, with the players, was a growth opportunity for sure. And I think it sets me up well. What I do know is when you have 23 different guys on your team, you need 23 different ways to approach it. You need a communication plan with each one. You need a development plan with each one. You need a mental health plan with each one to have success.
Mental health plan, huh?
I couldn't have said what I just said to you now 10 years ago, because I didn't know that. But when you go to a university setting, they have all these experts in all these fields right there, and they help you get better. And I had some good relationships with people there, and they teach you a lot about the way you communicate. And I think it's important that you continue to grow.
So that was this morning, Mike Babcock walking into a.
That's the closest you're going to get to an apology from Mike Babcock.
As well, Line A, Goodrow already under contract. They've shored up the blue line with Provorov, etc. So he's walking into a good.
He's a changed man. Like my response is instant laughter when I read.
Your thoughts, Cole?
Let's see how it goes. 2-year deal for him, which I think is okay to see.
2 years for Babcock.
From getting in there, but the question is, and it sounds like he's been humbled, right?
Did it sound like he was humbled? I'm not so sure.
We've heard lots about his reputation in dealing with players. So he's coming. He's getting another chance.
Kind of.
Another chance.
Maybe.
And, for Mike Babcock to come in there after coaching at U of S, and he's been at Vermont and working with different people right now, and from the outside, kind of looking in and seeing what he needs to change. We'll see where he's at. So I know some people say he should have got this chance, but for Mike Babcock, he's got to prove it 2 years with them, and maybe Columbus is at the perfect spot for him to come in and do that as well.
There's some comments here about people. So Ryan O'Reilly got 4 times 4.5, and Leaf fans or analysts are upset. They're like, well, I would have rather had Ryan O'Reilly than overpaying for Kampf and Reeves by $500,000. I have to agree with that.
Those days are long gone. You have to make sure these younger players know how you can help them get better, how they can achieve their career aspirations and goals and win. But they have to know that you care. So it's going to be incumbent upon him to impress that upon his players, get to know them on a personal level, which is going to make him uncomfortable. But that's what
Twitter is exploding right now. Ryan Spedding, I can't wait until OEL puts up 55 points at plus 28 with Florida. Yeah.
And David, you mentioned some of the top stars, but you also look at right now, so their second line. You've got Johnson and Marchenko, two other young players, Fantilli coming in, and now Babcock has spent.
Will he be on the third pairing? I would think so, for his sake anyway, for Florida's sake.
For him to come in and hopefully have a positive impact on this group.
Yeah, he's won everywhere he's been.
Twitter has like imploded here. It's not working.
Let's go to our newsbreakers, Elliot and John.
Yeah, we weren't the newsbreakers on this one. The Ottawa Senators were. They just announced that they've signed Jonas Korpisalo to a 5-year deal at $4 million per.
Wow.
So Jonas Korpisalo, take out the highlighter there, Dave, and update the
Senators get Korpisalo at 4 years at $5 million.
Right, okay. Wow. Okay. What a day for Twitter to break.
Is it 4 or 5? Yeah, everyone's complaining about Twitter breaking.
Well, was there anything else that was just new out there?
Frederick Anderson, 2-year deal. That's where it's inching.
Frederick Anderson, 2-year deal at $3.4 million.
Not quite there yet, but
That's okay. That's not horrible.
Okay, so a lot of goalies coming off the board, and Connor Sheary as well. So Korpisalo.
Connor Sheary in Tampa Bay.
$20 million to Ottawa. So this is interesting because the big news we were expecting out of Ottawa, guys, was
5 years at $20 million to Ottawa, so that's $4 million apiece for Korpisalo.
He's like 6'7", this giant, and now you've got the guy who can kind of teach him how to be a goalie.
Interesting. That's not too bad for Korpisalo, I
I
guess.
think it's good. I think he's a solid goaltender.
Musk doesn't like hockey, yeah.
Be a backstop for this team that, for me, I picked him as like my
Tyson Yost in Buffalo for 1 year, $2 million. Yeah, who cares?
they were able to do that.
Former Avalanche there.
Difference maker for this team.
Small guy.
He's athletic, he's big.
I don't. He was with Minnesota the past couple seasons. See, I kind of forgot about that.
Solid guy for years to come and grow with this group as a #1 guy.
And they needed this. They hadn't had the goaltending. They have an unbelievable power play. I would argue one of the best power players in the entire National Hockey League, and it will continue to do that with the guys.
So Killorn, I thought there was some news on Killorn, but
the holes were in some of the games they lost a lot of one-goal games.
I don't see anything here on Cat Friendly, and Twitter has broken.
It wasn't that they were posed defensively. I think that this will help their younger team grow and take that next step.
So, Ryan, where do you think Vancouver's? Where do you think they are, like philosophically? Are they retooling? Because it doesn't seem like they're rebuilding. And what do you want them to do? What do you think they're doing, and what do you want them to do? Because if Rutherford's behind the wheel there, which he is, really, it's not Alvin. He's a puppet, right?
Stability, finally. Remember, the Senators have missed the playoffs the last 6 years.
I know I'm jumping around here, but Senators just have not had any luck with goaltenders. You want them to win a cup. I don't see that happening. I don't know. They seem like they need some reconstruction, OEL's a start, getting him out of there. Tyler Myers, you got to get him out of there. He's a 7th defenseman at this point. They're not big enough on the back end at all, but big and useful, which is why I think they're going after Celsi. But they just seem like they're going to spin their wheels more. That's all I see. I think their owner is the problem.
And this is good because this team, like you said, 7 goalies over the course of the last season.
Now they're still talking about Korpisalo going to Ottawa.
The big question in this market still.
Ryan says it depends on what they can do with the back end and upgrade third line penalty kill.
To do such right now, and the DeBrincat deal was certainly.
Yeah. Maybe they can poach a player or two off of Vancouver, off of Calgary.
Which is good. Circus, ladies and gentlemen, guys. I was wondering if I had to maybe get up on a harness for the next hit or so, but at least there was a big deal.
Or Nashville or something.
Shakes down. We're going to be calling on you again, Faisal. Thank you so much. So they are coming off the board
Or even teams that are looking to make cap room, right? Look at Vegas trading, was it Riley Smith to the Pittsburgh Penguins for like a 3rd-round pick? You know, Vancouver's got to get on the phone, because if they can do moves like that multiple times and pick up some of the players I mentioned, you know, that the Leafs are interested in, that I hope they're interested in, like a Radko Gudas, a Carson Soucy. Who else is available? Matt Duchene's available now. I know he's not fantastic, but if you can get him at a decent price, like $4 million-ish, like under 4.5 million for a few years, maybe I do it. Okay, maybe under 4 million, around under 4.3, under 4.3, 3-year deal. I think that would be fair. But again, Duchene's not, he's kind of a one-way player. Like his defensive metrics apparently are not good. Okay, so it's time to refresh Cap Friendly here. And okay, so Cam Talbot did sign in LA a 1-year deal, $1 million. So they lose Korpisalo and they bring in Cam Talbot. I mean, that's 1 year, it's $1 million. But who else has LA got in the net now? Maybe they're looking to take Hellbuck as well. After giving that contract to Dubois, I'm not sure if they have the space. They would have to move some money out, I would think. Let's look at LA here for a second. LA's got they only have over $1 million in projected cap space right now. And their 2 goalies are now Phoenix Copley and Cam Talbot. I mean, you could bury Talbot's money easily, I guess. Same with Copley. That goalie tandem doesn't give me a lot of confidence. Although Phoenix Copley was okay last year for LA. I mean, he had a good stretch of games there. In 37 games last year for Los Angeles, he was a .903. Yeah, I think he started off really well for the first 15, 20 games, and then tallied off at the end. And that's when they went off and got Korpisalo. And I guess they $4 million though. So now they've got Phoenix Copley and Talbot. For a team that, see, if I'm Vancouver and I want to model my team after like a retool, like LA seems to have done a good job of that. But Vancouver hasn't, sucked in a bunch of draft picks like LA has beforehand. They didn't really do that step. LA has, and so now has a plethora of young guys and prospects and draft picks to deal. But now they have a problem in net, although they're pretty strong down the middle. So I guess Vegas has showed everyone that, hey, if Aiden Hill can win a cup, and they started with Brossois right before he got injured. Here we go. Breaking news.
Been looking for a veteran defenseman to complement the youth on that blue line. Eric Johnson goes to the Buffalo Sabres. It's 1 year, $3.25 million.
Okay, let's.
Eric Johnson to the Sabres.
Radko Gudas is going to Anaheim. That's a
Gudas to Anaheim. Damn.
James Reimer's agent, Ray Petco, announced that Reimer's going to Detroit for 1 times 1.5.
Reimer to Detroit.
I don't know what the contract looks like yet, but Connor Brown is going to the Edmonton Oilers.
Damn it. Another player I wanted the Leafs to get. Connor Brown to Edmonton.
Shit. Like writing notes like a maniac.
Trying to keep your eye on it. There's a lot of breaking news. So we're going to get to Dan Murphy in just a matter of moments. We're going to break down alongside Ian McIntyre what's going on with the Vancouver Canucks. But there's just
they're going to talk about the Canucks soon anyway.
A lot to digest there. That's why I was writing it all down.
You're a beast.
Radko Gudas. That's a big sign. He really showed his
to Anaheim. Okay, he doesn't want to win a cup anymore. He's 33 years old.
We know he's hurt. We know he might not be ready for the start of next season. But what does
1 year at $4 million? No,
A gamer, a guy who's going to show the young guys.
3 years at $4 million AAV. Wow. At 33 years old.
Young defenseman there. You think about
That's pretty good.
Zellweger, Colton White, rather, Ellison, Drysdale. This is a guy who comes to play, brings his lunch pail, brings his, knows exactly who he is as a player.
Radko Gudas. So you see Luke Shen to Nashville, Radko Gudas to Anaheim. You see a lot of these big, tough defensemen not going to contenders and signing because they can't get the money, because the contenders don't have cap space. So they're going to teams that are not even going to probably sniff the playoffs, let's be honest, and they're signing for more money. So they're giving up on their cup hopes to sign for money. And it's not like they're 1 year deals. They're like multiple year deals. Shen signed for 3 years. Gudas now for three years as well. So I find that sad. I find that sad where really good playoff defensemen are going to teams that aren't even going to make the playoffs. Now, Connor Brown, they're talking about Connor Brown to Edmonton. I think this is big. I'm really interested to see what the money is. I really wanted the Leafs to get him back. What did he sign for? What did Brown sign for in Edmonton? This is a great addition for Edmonton. Great addition for anybody. I know he was injured almost all of last season, but Morgan Geekie just signed a 2-year, $2 million AAV in Boston. James Reimer signs a 1 year, 1.5 in Detroit. Eric Johnson, I already mentioned, 1 year, 3.25 in Buffalo.
You can easily slide him up into the lineup, higher in the lineup. So I like this pickup. It's a guy who
got to get paid, yeah.
Plays the right way, plays in all situations.
I guess so. Reimer's still in the league. Yeah, he was with San Jose for the past few years. I want to say 3-4 years. He's still serviceable. Like I like Reimer as a backup goaltender. I'm okay with that. And at the money, I mean, he's 35 now, but I mean, goaltenders can do that. And 1.5 million, that's not bad. That's you can bury that for most of the for with $100,000 with only eating about that much. So in Detroit, I think that's a good pickup by Detroit. Actually, I know he's gonna be playing behind what's his name. All of a sudden, their main goaltender, I forget who he is for Detroit.
We're told 1 year, there you go. 1 year, $4 million. You know what? He's beyond that power play at times. He's going to get those points will elevate.
And you don't play, right? Jeff?
1 year, $4 million for who?
Banged up. He's hurt. So come back, prove it, play with those kinds of players. What a great deal for him.
Oh, is that Connor Brown? 1 million at 1 year at $4 million.
That has been the trend here. Shorter term, maybe some
no.
A little bit of elevated money.
1 year.
But it makes sense for both the player and the team. So the names are coming off the board fast and furious.
I don't understand. What?
The first hour of signing season here on Sportsnet Central. We're going to check in on the Canucks and see how they're doing and what they're doing with Dan Murphy and Ian McIntyre. That's when Hockey Central signing season rolls on.
What?
On Sportsnet.
What is this deal? With the Oilers. Talking about Connor Brown. I don't understand. What's it sounds like a 1 year deal for Connor Brown. It says value. What? Cap Friendly has a hiccup here. They've got length. It's a 1 year deal for Connor Brown. Cap hits $775,000, but the value's over $4 million. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense.
So that's a hit now?
Yeah, the band is shift. What are we gonna do next? Make the bases bigger?
To be a 1.3 million plus bonuses in the 2 million range. Okay. So that's what it is. The bonuses. Thank you for that. Twitter's still broken? What's going on here, man?
Hey, Sportsnet, want all the answers? Of course I do. Join host Arden and Ben for the latest Blue Jays news and subscribe to the At the Letters podcast.
Twitter is broken.
Every game on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Oh, I hate this goddamn commercial. It just really pisses me off. I don't know what the Rangers are doing signing Van Riemsdyk. I guess it's 1 year, $1 million. I don't see how that moves the needle for them. I'm not even sure they're going to make the playoffs next year if Krejci and Bergeron don't come back. I mean, Krejci's not coming back. Bergeron doesn't look like he is either. I think they're toast. And at one point, I heard people talking about maybe they might even try to swing a trade for Brad Marchand. I've heard whispers of that. So if that's a 1.3 for Connor Brown, on a 1 year deal, why is the value? It says the value here on Cap Friendly is $4 million, over $4 million. Yeah, I don't. How many times can you hit refresh on Cap Friendly within a minute? I think we're going to find out.
What's going up? What do you have, gentlemen?
Oh, breaking news.
Let me handle this one and hand it over to you. Really quickly, on the Connor Brown deal, the Edmonton Oilers, 775 base bonuses, 3.25. Elliot brings it up to 4.
Geeky who was not qualified by Seattle yesterday. He's now going to Boston.
So that's a complicated deal. It can go anywhere up to $4 million for Connor Brown in Edmonton, based all on bonuses. It goes 3.2 up to 3.2, and then to 4 million. Anyway, it's a 1 year deal though, and it's heavily on bonuses. Which, I mean, he was injured a lot of last year, so I guess that makes sense. Good pickup for Edmonton either way. That's a good price. That guy can score 30 goals if he's put with the right guy. If he's in the top 6, I think he's healthy for most of the season. I think he can score. I think he can score like at least 25 goals, at least. On the third line, I'd say anywhere between 15 to 20. On the third line, and he's amazing in the playoffs. Again, if he's healthy, but I got to qualify everything with that, right? Welcome, whoever you are. Second person in the stream. Now they're talking about the Canucks.
In the middle of the blue line, the organization has guys, and they developed some of them last year in the American.
Talking about the blue line. Let's listen in for a second while I refresh Cap Friendly.
They feel like they have some candidates who can play.
Twitter is still down. We have a Twitter down.
Can handle second pair minutes, which is I think why there's been a lot of linkage in reports between Carson Soucy and the Canucks. Ian Cole is another name that we're hearing, and we'll have to see. But they started the offseason. The third line center was their stated top priority.
Riley Nash signs with the Rangers.
They do need
2 year deal at $775,000. Okay.
to go with what they have for now. But ultimately, they do need a two-way guy who has a defensive profile, who can win faceoffs, who can kill penalties. Of course, everybody in the NHL seems to be looking for that guy to play.
Talking about what you were mentioning there, Ryan.
JT Compher's name is out there, but in this free agent
killing
class,
penalties, good face-off guy, big defenseman. It's kind of what every team needs, though.
He says he has to be careful.
Especially Vancouver, though. Their defense, they're desperate need for a reconstruction there.
He says he can't just rush in and jump on something and spend it all.
Oh, so it looks like Camphor or Comfer, however you want to pronounce it. Is it you pronounce the O or just skip over it? Is it silent?
Will not be back. He's heading to San Jose for the next.
Burrows to San Jose.
All right, well, breaking news there. All right, thanks so much to Dan and Neil. Them in a little while.
Riley Smith, by the way, who just signed with the Rangers.
I think you're thinking of this team and who's going to be reliable for you on that back end now with some changes to that lineup. And Soucy's a guy that can do that. I think he's got pretty good movement for the size of player that he is. Good movement, can make good reads with the puck to move it up.
Is that official? Soucy in Vancouver?
I think here's a guy. There's an example of the physicality that he can bring just solid in terms of his gap control and what he can add to your lineup. So I think if you're looking for an option, he certainly could be a really good one.
Oh, no. Nothing official on Soucy.
Maybe there's some hesitancy to spend a lot of money, but clearly there is that need from 3C or somebody who can play in that spot. And I mean, you look at, they mentioned Comfer was one as well. I mean,
yeah, so they're rumored for Vancouver. Comfer, Soucy. I hope Toronto beats them to Soucy.
Potentially in Dallas, so that's another option for them.
Well, I'm just wondering about like what we're seeing right now, right? We're seeing, well, besides some of the big dogs that have gotten a few more years, we're not seeing the 7 years that you're talking about. It's like, who can you get? Well, the Caps just sitting like this for cheap. That I think most of the guys are going. Let's play this out.
Top free agents: Ethan Bear, Kravtsov, Dermott, Delia. For Vancouver.
Obviously, you have to make sure you have a massive year, so it works out in your favor, and you go to some places that give you an opportunity for that. I like that.
Riley Nash played in Arizona last year, 24 games, 4 assists, -3. I know he's like a third, fourth line center guy, isn't he?
You're an unrestricted free agent. You're sitting at home wondering. You're seeing guys sign for shorter.
Shoots right, 6'2", 34 years old.
There's only a few seats.
Yeah, center and right wing.
I need to get a seat.
So a depth guy for the Rangers, I guess. What number? Like a 13?
Expectations of maybe getting longer term
or fourth line. He played for Tampa, Arizona, and Winnipeg. In 2021-22. Last year, he didn't even play in the NHL. He played 66 games in the AHL and had 24 goals, 59 points.
There are some difference makers.
Interesting. Okay.
We're going to wait to see.
Still, he's old.
Let's get back to our boardroom though, Kyle and the gang.
34. Okay.
Yeah, David, thank you. And as
breaking news.
Conversation around defensemen and the Canucks continues. Jason.
They're talking Canucks, more Canucks. Okay.
Potentially could be a fit there. I remember when you were thinking 28-year-old Ryan Graves.
I was, yeah, and I still am. I just want to throw a little bit of oil in the water here. Like for me, like when we start talking Confer feuds, like he had his most productive offensive season ever last year in Colorado. Circumstance there.
Listen in on Confer.
But he's not really a 2. He's like a 3 for me. I think he can find 3s. I really do think he can find 3s. So don't overpay on a 3 at this time of year. What I
True. I love this analyst.
The structure on the back.
Keep on forgetting his name.
Like we need to get in the lane. We need to block more shots. We need to play heavy harder. So I've got 2 guys. I got Ryan Graves at 6'5", 220, 83 hits, 152 blocks. On the other side of it, I got Soucy, 143 hits, 96 blocks. I don't know what their number is going to be. Here's the problem. The market gets set at 275, let's say, with Shen. So now everybody's following the market, right? The market goes to Gudis at 4. Like now we're starting to get into that area where you're going to probably overpay somewhere. If you can do it, I'd fit those 2 D in before I'd fit one of them and a guy like Confer. That's the way I go.
I couldn't agree more with Fuchs on the needs of this team.
Fuchs.
And it's funny because it's not like something.
Is it Fuchs? Fukala?
This season.
He's like the younger analyst on Sportsnet.
For a while now. And like they've always thrown the money at the JT Millers and their top forwards and stuff like that. And
JT Miller's still a Canuck. That's a joke.
And I mean, I look at it, and again, you got Quinn Hughes who's a star, right? I actually thought that Chen might be going back there because of the success they had with a veteran to help him out. But I agree with you, Susie. I mean, I don't know, we've seen we were joking about Mayfield possibly being already signed with the Islanders, but a player like that, a right shot D, that would help them. But this area can't be neglected. Like when you see what's there, now that they've bought out OEL,
refreshing, cap friendly.
It's thin back there. It's really thin back there.
And for a team that feels they're not that far away from getting back into the playoffs, I think they've only been in once since 2015. Like, do you feel maybe they're a little further than what they believe they are?
So honestly, I don't know. Like I'm perplexed by this team. Like they tease me.
I'm perplexed by Vancouver too.
Get out of this, you do all these things, you feel great, and you come out of the gate like with broken legs, and then you catch your wind. Like I mean, and like talk after talk out there, the team start playing hard, but just when you get there, you're still 7 points out of the playoffs, or you're short from the playoffs.
Set an identity on the back end. That's
100%.
where I'm going with it. Give the goalie a better chance.
And
Set
that's
the
something-
identity on the
that's what
back
I'm
end
talking
with
about.
two bigger
100%.
bodies, and let's play heavy harder on the back end. Because then if we do get in, we might catch lightning in a bottle, and you need that.
All right. Nashville's been hot this week with the awards and the draft, and again today with free agency. Let's go back to Elliot and Jeff.
Okay, so there's some stuff coming down. Gustav Nyquist is going to Nashville, 2 times 3.185.
Nyquist to Nashville.
That's latest.
Nashville's grabbing up a lot of players here.
Sorry, it's crazy here. I can't even.
Gustav
see what
Nyquist
it's
to
I
Nashville.
have no idea what's out there. So, Connor Clifton, he got traded as well. Oh, sorry, he got signed by Buffalo. 3 years, $10 million.
Connor Clifton, Buffalo, 3 years, $10 million. From Boston. Originally with Boston.
Head out to Edmonton, G. Principe, Mark Spector, full analysis next.
Cat Friendly is not keeping up here. I don't have Nyquist. Oh, excuse me. Oh wow, sorry, I gotta do this. Oh, it's up at 6 a.m. Oh my god. Oh, okay. Dallas signed Hanley. Okay, hold on. Whatever. Is Twitter still broken?
Bases are wider than the old ones. Is he focused on the size of the new bases? Now it would be easier to steal second base. Is he thinking about stealing second base? 7 years in the league. And he's never stolen a single base.
Twitter.
Don't steal second base. The pitcher's not looking.
Yeah, Twitter's still down. This is Twitter's usually pretty useful, obviously, for I don't know if anyone's on it here, but for fresh news, for updating news, rumors that are happening, in the moment. And the goddamn thing is down. So now you have to just depend upon, whatever, TSNs, The Score, Sportsnet, and Cat Friendly. And now we're in commercials. Welcome to the Perplexed Club with Vancouver. Yeah, stretch it out. Yeah, see, Vancouver's like, oh, they plan on making the playoffs next year. I'm like, really? That's your plan? Making the playoffs. So to me, a plan is either being a contender or rebuilding. It's one of the two. Few teams can do a good retool. We really have to have the owner on board, and it's pretty clear the Canucks owner is very not on board. He gets nervous every time they don't have a full arena for a year or two, even if it's still 60-70% full all the time. I mean, when I went to see Detroit versus Vancouver and Detroit beat them like 7-2, something ridiculous like that, the place was practically full, so take a beating in the stands, because I think fans would like to see you do a rebuild properly. Don't do this spinning your wheels thing like Minnesota did before Kaprizov. I mean, for like a decade, rip it down properly, build it back up properly, not like Buffalo, like recent Buffalo, not like old Buffalo, like Kevin Adams Buffalo. I hope that was as confusing as possible. Back to the program.
On this operation is there he is in the red shirt, Stan Radka, our stat man extraordinary. Keep him on his toes here to run off set there. It's his final show today, guys. After 19 incredible years, brings us the stats. He gets us.
Okay, they're going to Edmonton.
On everything. So Stan Radka, happy retirement to you. Two gentlemen who are not yet.
I like my new drink. It's got some really good texture here. It's almost like a like a stress ball or something. Every time you grab it, it's pretty cool.
Take it to you, G.
Anyone guess what's in here?
Thank you. That really would be breaking news if we were retired and didn't know. This is going to be really good in case it's our last one. Okay, so Connor Brown, not
really,
his last opportunity.
Really bad echo in there in the broadcast in Edmonton. OJ. No, it is not. It is just water, actually. I know that's very disappointing, but I will be hitting the beer soon. It's 10 I think 10:30 is fair. 10:30 in the morning, it's beer o'clock, baby. I'll have to run up to the fridge really fast. Maybe on the next commercial, I'll do that. They're talking about Connor Brown, obviously, in Edmonton.
Might fit. And is this a guy who can slide up and down the lineup? But the Oilers would prefer to see him closer to the upside than the downside.
Yeah, I'm not the first guy to call him Zach Hyman Light. That's the word that's out there, but it is a good label.
Yeah, Yamamoto's gone. Kim Closton's gone from Edmonton. I can see Connor Brown. I can see him. I can see him playing in the top six. I really can.
He's a guy with something to prove on a one-year deal that pays $750 base with 3.225 in games played bonuses. Remember, this is a player who played 4 games.
Oh, it's $750 plus 3.225 in bonuses. So it's not up to. I was thinking up to. So that's why it comes out to $4 million, just over $4 million for Connor Brown.
Well, a couple of housekeeping things. They wanted to make sure they had a couple of veteran forwards in the minor leagues. They signed.
Give me a thumbs up, please. Helps the algorithm on YouTube and everything. I'm sure you have already a subscriber, but hit my thumbs up button if you don't mind. I'd really appreciate it.
He is currently shopping the market to see if there's more money.
Evans looking at Bustad, bringing back Bustad.
Last season was the first year he ever made it to the second round of the playoffs. So the question for Nick Bustad is:
see, a lot of these teams can't afford these playoff players, and they're all I know I've mentioned they're all going to these non-playoff teams. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. Back to the panel here, where there's no echo. Okay.
We'll check out Edmonton. We've gone around and checked out all our.
We have a commercial coming. I might run go get a beer.
We have one of the earlier signings joining us now from Vegas, and that's Ryan Reeves, a 13-year NHL vet, about to be a 16-year NHL.
Ryan Reeves.
Oh, look at him styling. Revo, congratulations on the new deal. And what went into it? Obviously, a lot of suitors. Why Toronto?
Interviewing Ryan on Toronto.
I really enjoyed my time in Minnesota. I think it came down to if I was leaving there, it was going to be for a contender, and Toronto fit that. They have a lot of firepower up front. They finally got over that first round hump last year. I think that's the first step of what they needed to do. So this for me was a hard decision, but once Toronto started calling, and after a couple talks, it was basically a pretty easy decision.
Revo, it's Army here. We saw what you did in Minnesota at that point. Come in, change things around, the culture, the life, the energy. What are you feeling coming into this room? You just got to do your job, right? On the ice, but of course, bringing this.
Can you get some sunnies on like Reeves? Sunnies. I'm sorry. It's the morning. My brain isn't working. What is sunnies? What does that mean? Is that a West Coast thing? What? Oh, sunglasses. Oh, so you want to get some sunglasses? Maybe I'll grab a pair. Yeah. You think that would help my numbers? Everyone's doing a live podcast today. right? But it's even if I knew that going into this, but there'd be a lot of competition and I wouldn't get many numbers. But it's easier than making a ton of videos on all the signings. It's just you might as well find out about it while you're doing it live. So I'm enjoying it at the same time. So it's not really about it's about us, you and me. It's not about all the rest of the people. But I will get some sunglasses and beer when I go upstairs.
Now I got to keep up with these young kids, so I'm working on a lot more speed. I'm still not the fastest guy, obviously, but I've got faster over the years, believe it or not, just so I can keep up with these guys and be able to catch them.
Well, congratulations, Ryan. I think we've always appreciated our time to chat with you. You're always very generous with your time. If you think about coming into the Leafs, are there certain players that you're most looking forward to being around, both on the ice and in the locker room with this group?
Probably would.
The big four there. Those guys are unbelievable players, and I'm excited to watch them in practice, see what they do in practice.
I should probably just go now
I'm excited to
during
see
this.
when they score. I can tell you, I wasn't doing it before. So,
How does Ryan Reeves have all his teeth still? Those got to be fake. A lot of those got to be. I mean, he doesn't get punched much, to be honest, right? Usually he's the one knocking them out, not getting them knocked out of him.
I'm excited to see these guys at work. They're just some serious skill in those four guys, and
I think was it Lowe from Winnipeg who gave him a run for his money a bit last season? A little bit.
I can't wait. He better be growing a little more hair because he's going to be bald by the time I rub it all out.
So, Ryan, listen, you've come a long way since the old CPR line back in St. Louis. It's an incredible career for you. Congratulations, a new 3-year deal in Toronto, and enjoy the rest of the summer.
I appreciate it.
Why did he have to pay him that kind of money though? Like that was in the term. Come on.
Yeah, they do, and I think you see the value of what teams think of him, right? Like Billy G goes and gets him. He's a guy that's more than just a guy that goes up and down.
May have been an overpay. I know, but the Leafs got one of the best characters in the league. I guess so, but maybe there's a reason he's been bouncing around so much, right? Because he can overstay his welcome. That's how so. I mean, he went from he started in St. Louis. He went to Pittsburgh for like 1 year, and then it was Vegas. He stayed for about 2 years at least, maybe 3. And then he goes to Rangers for 1 season, and then he goes to Minnesota for 1 season. And he doesn't have the foot speed.
But I do agree that I think his energy, his intensity can just take it down a notch, just sort of lighten the load.
I like his energy and intensity and blah blah blah. But I mean, again, he's going to be playing like less than 5 minutes in the third period. I want the Leafs to get tougher and meaner, but in the top 6 or in the top 9. Like like an Achari or on D or a Tom Wilson type, Sam Bennett type, something like that. Breaking news.
Yeah, he's producing that too.
Breaking news. Breaking news.
2 years at an annual average value of $7.75 million.
Wow.
So it's 2 times 7.75. And there's a $3 million signing bonus in this first year. So that one is done.
You say 2 times 7.75?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
And I don't know what we've talked about.
Orlov to Carolina.
And Ian Cole's going to
Okay.
Ian Cole to Vancouver.
What's happening here? Ian Cole, Vancouver.
Orlov to Carolina for over $7 million AAV. What? Wow, I knew he was going to get overpaid by around $6 million ish, but 7. And in Carolina, the team that never overpays people. That's really gonna That's surprising for Orlov. That feels like at least Orlov gets 2 years at 15.5. So 7.23 or something per year. I guess it's only 2 years, but and that's why the money was higher.
Big splash, and then I said, well, they had the max factory, and it didn't work out because they did. Is this the big splash they're hoping?
Yeah, it is. And what does this say for Carolina, right? A team that's pretty stocked with defensemen. There's a guy who's going to be heading out
So
of there.
precursor
To something that might have to happen here down the line to a fairly big name Hurricane defenseman, probably, that they're going to have to do.
It looks like Pesce his days are numbered in Carolina.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, but I think
he's got 1 year left at 4 point something.
On the list of UFAs.
So let's see what team can pry. Maybe the price for Pesce goes down after this because they're now kind of forced to deal him, right? Shea may be on the way out. They're just talking about that for Carolina.
That's could be it. You stockpile defensemen, then you ship out a defenseman for a forward. We know Carolina can use some forward help. That was the problem in their series. When they lost in the conference final, they ran into the hottest goalie in the world in Sergei Bobrovsky, but they didn't have Svechnikov. They didn't have Patrick.
I'm gonna stretch my legs.
And maybe you're connected. Aren't you?
Yeah, it would be.
What are you suggesting?
Oh my God.
Let's go.
Nylander to Carolina.
All right, well, we'll see. I mean, maybe that's, again, Don Liddell. Maybe this is what he has in mind. All right, let's get back up to
Well,
in the boardroom. They got
the Leafs may have to trade Nylander. I kind of wanted them to trade Marner, but that's impossible.
Over here and had to duck for cover as we came on camera. What he was giving me was just a little bit of insight in terms of the term of some of the deals, right? We saw 3 max 7-year terms handed over from free agency a year ago. We haven't seen anything close to that so far today, though it is still early stages. The longest being Jonas Corposalo, 5 years in Ottawa. And to your point, the amount of short-term deals, I mean, obviously it's cap reason, but both sides can kind of make the argument as to why they would push for a shorter term.
It's a little, they're hedging their bets. They're hedging their bets on where the cap's going to go here in the next couple of years. So Jammer brings up a great point. Like,
So
Orlov
it's
is
funny with Twitter down, you're really
age.
more people should be going to these podcasts actually for live news because they can't get it off of Twitter.
I feel like Orlov might have capped out at 7.25 even when the
Besides
cap
your traditional news feed.
The reason why these shorter term deals, just cost certainty to a degree, but also players are waiting it out. They
So
know that
Orlov
extra
for
money
7.2-year deal to Carolina at 7.75. Mike Riley, 1 year, $1 million to Anaheim. Who cares? Connor Brown, good deal for Edmonton. Anywhere between 700,000 to 750,000, 775,000 to $4 million.
I agree with the panel there.
With bonuses to Edmonton.
Priced himself out at some point during these negotiations when you look at that. But they've got some players coming up still in the understudy.
I think Carolina's put themselves in a bit of a pickle though, because they've got to deal
Still to have a guy in the
Foster
system,
or
so it's
Pesce for sure.
No, I agree.
They're
100%.
forced.
No. Are we hitting on Edmonton at all?
Yes, yeah,
We had Brown as our guy. And of course, they went to. I love that move. Now I look at as I said, he was such a leader in Toronto. They loved him, and I know DJ Smith was really upset that they lost in Ottawa. So I like.
And back on Ryan Reeves, just for a quick second. It's a we mentioned it's a 3-year deal for him, but the guy's like 36 years old too.
Now, the one thing I would say with Stasny is because obviously he's a little thick and too big. He's got Stanley Cup time. You want some
I'm
guys
just double
in that
checking
dressing
here.
room now that can look at the guys because that's their next goal. That's their goal to win a cup. So if you could throw a ring in there, it wouldn't hurt.
Kyle Burrows, by the way, 1.1 million in Vancouver, 1 year.
I keep it.
No, 3-year deal. Wow.
Still, I like the familiarity. I like that he's a big body, right shot. He's a bumper though, guys. Like he's not a punishing guy. He's got range on the penalty kill, gets into the lane, and he'll block some shots and things. But he can play the wing, play the middle. It's just going to be the number. I think he was at 900 last year, and depending on what the equations are getting flown around out there, that's my guy though. And I don't know. Like these are the.
Oh, they're talking about Bustad now.
In Florida, when I was there, this is a guy.
And where he might sign if he's going to resign in Edmonton.
I mean, like just a real good teammate, fits into the room real quickly, and being from Minnesota too, traditionally. These are the types of markets that these guys love to go play, hotbeds. And
let's see if Edmonton re-signs him.
I would certainly go there before I went to.
Welcome everybody. Please don't forget to give me a thumbs up before you leave. I'd really appreciate it. Helps with the algorithm, blah, 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 blah.
So let's not spend all
And
our
don't
money
forget to
on
subscribe,
this
too, if you haven't already.
because they've got some work to do in-house as well. Ryan McLeod, Evan Bouchard on the back end, and Ken Holland has come flat out and said it has to be a bridge deal, to your point about the term going on.
Still talking about Edmonton here. Refreshing cat friendly. Twitter is still down.
Thank you, gentlemen, in the boardroom. We'll get back to the boardroom. They're coming off the board, though. I mean, that's the bottom line. We still want to know where Matthew Shane, Tarasenko.
Still a lot of guys. Looks like we're going to a commercial. I'm just going to go run, get a beer.
There's a lot of talent still on the board. What about Patrick Kane?
I know it's 10:30 a.m. I know it's 10:30 a.m. It's elite. I think that's minimum. That's allowed, right? Okay, I'll be right back. Give me like 20 seconds.
At first, Mia didn't realize TSC.ca has exciting offers every day. Every day? Every single day. She discovered unforgettable savings on her favorite brands with today's showstopper, the best offer of the day at TSC. Is 20% off? She shopped
Okay, I'm back.
bundles with incredible value and interest-free.
Lost a couple of people. God. Damn it. Okay, here we go. Lost 3 people. I just went for like 10 seconds, 12 seconds. Anyways, Ryan, this is, I'm actually not crazy about this brewery, but this particular beer is decent. And that's as far as I'll go say is decent. This is a category 12 Juicy Data Hazy IPA. There's a lot of bad beers out there. There's so many craft breweries now, and they all claimed, and they're not that good. You know, to me, one of the best beers out there right now is made by Superflux brewery out in I think it's out in Vancouver. And it's called Gigantic. It's the IP, one of the IPAs that they have. They make a lot of IPAs, but the Gigantic one in particular. And I think it might be a seasonal beer or something. It seems to be out everywhere, but it's an amazing beer. There's one on every corner now. Oh, you mean in Port Alberni beer store, liquor store? Yeah, there totally is. Oh, you mean craft breweries in general? Yeah. Haven't tried the Superflux one yet. We'll check it out. Yeah, Superflux, but Gigantic by Superflux. That specific beer, because they make a lot of stuff, and it's not bad. All the rest of the stuff, it's okay, but the Gigantic one is really good. Let's juicy it up. Let's get it if I can. I don't have any nails. I can't even open these cans anymore. There we go. And we're back to the no. There we go. Nice head there. Okay, back to the broadcast.
Today is the future Hall of Famer Patrick Kane coming off hip surgery, 34 years of age, and we'll have many teams interested. It's hard to do this right now because there's still a lot of dominance.
Okay, cheers.
Where do you see the perfect fit for Patrick Kane?
Whoa, I think a lot of people would, teams would be interested. The interesting thing with Kane too is that his recovery.
This is like Superflux Light. This one.
People anticipated.
Superflux Gigantic.
That were shared. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, it's a big contract. There's no question to what he might.
Talking about Patrick Kane now and where he might go. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, please. I appreciate it. Patrick Kane. What do I think of Patrick Kane? I don't know. I don't think I'm signing Patrick Kane. He's getting like a double hip replacement. How often are players come back from an injury or from a surgery like that and do well. Look at Backstrom. He's fallen off the map. Joyce, hey Manning, hey, how's it going? Looks like I got here at the right time. Cheers. Yeah. Thanks for joining me, Manning. It's fantastic. Give me a thumbs up, Sean. So yeah, they're still talking about Kane. I wouldn't give Kane more than, I don't know, like he's made all his money right now, right? He's made his money. He's a huge risk because he's coming off a double hip injury. I think I would, why not take like less than $2 million? I know it's Patrick Kane, but I don't care. He's 34. He wasn't that good in the playoffs at all. He was good in Chicago. He was good up until he went to the Rangers, really.
Yeah, pretty amazing too, thinking about him, right? And
So
what we're seeing right now with the 1-2 year deals.
if I'm Kane, he's made what, $10 million over the last 8 years, 10 plus million. Take minimum. Go to a contender. Try to win a cup. Otherwise, what do you care if you even play? Go to Anaheim or something. Go get a tan somewhere. And get paid some more money. Fine. But
take his time, and Jen, you're saying there might be a shorter time. I think maybe it could even be a longer time where he kind of just sits there and says, "Let me see how the team's doing the first 15 games, and then I'll."
That's a good idea. They're talking about Kane waiting to well into the season to seeing where the teams are, and then signing a deal with one of those contenders for a small amount, I presume. Obviously.
He's not going to be waiting on 1 year deal, $800,000.
See, they're saying the same thing. 1 year deal, $800,000. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Breaking.
Soucy is official. Well, not official, but it's happening to Vancouver.
Oh, it looks like
3.25.
Oh wow. Carsey signs 3 year, 9.75
3 years, 3 point.
in Vancouver. That's great for Vancouver. I wish Toronto got him too.
Put up with a lot of hate in Toronto. I'm glad to see him get the bag.
Well, before we say goodbye, Ian Cole did Vancouver as well, right?
Yes, Vancouver officially announced that one at 1 year.
That's a great pickup for Vancouver. Carson Soucy at just over $3 million. Why didn't Toronto kick the tires on him? That's a really good pickup by Van.
All right.
Carson Soucy, yeah. Carson Soucy to Vancouver at somewhere around just over $3 million. It doesn't seem like it's super official yet, but it looks like it's a done deal. Max Pacioretty signs a 1 year deal to go to the Washington Capitals for $2 million and $2 million in bonuses. So as much as $4 million. Craig Smith signs a 1 year deal, $1 million deal with Dallas.
What do you guys think of this?
I think it's everything that they wanted to do, right?
But Max Pacioretty, that's interesting too. 1 year in Washington, $2 million with $2 million in bonuses, up to $4 million. He's 34, by the way. Seems like a good price for a mid D man. Yeah, absolutely, for Vancouver. I don't understand why a contender couldn't pick him up at that price. Those are really good. That's a really good 3.75 for Carson Soucy. Sure, I take that. Have you seen him play the past? Since he's been in Minnesota, he's been really good. I know he's been a bottom pair. He was a bottom pair in mini and a middle pair guy in Seattle. So now it looks like he's going to play, in the 3 or 4 spot with Vancouver. Yeah, this is something a contender should have been able to handle for a player like that, for a Soucy. Anyways, Vancouver also gets Ian Cole. So their defense definitely gets a lot better there. Ian Cole, by the way, 1 year at $3 million. Maybe that's a bit of an overpay by about $1 million at this point in his career. But if you're Vancouver, I guess so.
It's looking like it's not enough.
Yeah, only 1 year. Yeah. Yeah, so it's
So top 6 certainly is there, but
yeah, for Van at 1 year, yeah. So it's not horrible or anything. Like the term's really good. I mean, if he's signing on a contender or a bona fide playoff team, I think it's more around $2 million or less, which is why it's 3 in Vancouver, right? That's my 2 cents anyway.
On a Sunday night in October, no place better than the Heritage Classic courtesy of Tim Hortons.
All right, what are we going here? Twitter's still down. It looks like Twitter's going to be down for a while. Okay. And we're back to commercials here for a second. Looks like Manning's gone. I lost Manning. I lost Sean Manning. Canucks are a contender now for a playoff spot. Okay. I laughed until I got to the parenthesis there. So Manning, I'm still catching up on a bit of the moves. Oh yeah. Okay. How come my YouTube live feed doesn't say you're on here? It says I just have one person where I obviously have 2. That's weird. Yeah, because my person count, I only have 1 in it right now. I know Ryan Spedding's there, and you're here. So I don't know. I guess Twitter and YouTube are having issues today. Anyways, don't forget give me a thumbs up, guys. I'd really appreciate it. And when I mean you guys, I mean Sean. I see that too. It just says 1 on my screen. Yeah, it's weird. So I think those are 2 really good pickups for Vancouver, and Salcy and Ian Cole. That helps stabilize their blue line a bit more. Feels like they could use more for sure. Maybe they plan to fill it in with some younger guys as Burrows goes to was it Anaheim? But yeah, good for the Canucks. Do I see them as a playoff? Making the playoffs now? I'm gonna wait for the next couple of weeks to see what they do to comment more on that. Joe Manning says, just saw Luke Shen sign with the Preds. I'm glad the Leafs didn't do that deal. It was too much term and it was too high, but I really wanted Shen back on the Leafs. But look at Radko Gudas. He goes to the Anaheim Ducks. So all these like beefy playoff grinding defensemen who hit hard are signing with non-playoff teams because playoff teams can't afford to give them that kind of money and or term. And it's, I guess you can't blame them for going after the money, but it makes me sad. It really makes me sad. I wanted the Leafs to get at least one of those guys, or any playoff team would love to have one of those guys. So to have them go to Nashville, who's probably not going to miss the playoff, probably not going to make the playoffs. I know they picked up Ryan O'Reilly too. I don't know if you heard about that. Who did they pick up? They picked up Nyquist, Ryan O'Reilly, and Luke Shen so far, I believe, for Nashville. So maybe they that's a capital M, make the playoffs next season. Canucks, I think, are in that category somewhat as well. And now we're talking about Erik Karlsson, it looks like, on Sportsnet.
Let's check out the boardroom with Kyle and the gents.
Okay, let's see what the analysts say for a second here.
The Erik Karlsson debate. There was no bigger story.
Talking about Erik Karlsson here.
Awards on Monday night in Nashville, because he was talking again about his future. He's open about wanting to go somewhere where he has an opportunity to win because he hasn't done so yet. On the surface, it looks great.
Manning says those bad teams can overpay them and then trade them for future assets. That's true, but they sign them for multi-year deals, right? So Shen is a 3-year deal. Radko Gudas is a 3-year deal. It's a little
right out of the box.
Especially this season, it's going to be hard to trade those guys to contenders unless they're moving bodies back and forth.
the bowl and say, yeah, these guys.
Or retaining and blah blah blah.
I'm buying low on this. I'm not necessarily doing the shopping on it. You got to get 3 teams involved. He's at 11-5. Even if San Jose wants to eat 50 points, which I'm not even sure they want to do that. He's a minus 25, I believe, or 28 this year on not a very good team. I get it, but you know what? I just don't. He's a nice to have. He's not a need to have for me personally. Come playoff time, and the number's too big for me.
Yeah.
And at 33,
term could be an issue. Yeah,
just caught his best season ever, and I don't know if it's like you come to me and you tell me, should we do this? Should we not? It's a no for me.
Yeah, the term skin obviously.
Talking about Carlson
to watch this year. I mean, offensively, but when you look at a team, okay, let's just talk like the Toronto Maple Leafs. Okay, obviously their team always has offensively. They can score goals. They've got a great power play. I think with their situation where they started to really come around last year is how well they were buying into team defense. I'm not necessarily the amount of pieces that have to go out, and obviously I don't even know if the Leafs have the prospects.
They don't have the draft capital or the prospects.
I don't think it's reasonable, but I mean, if somebody did have it, I mean, again, it'd be you're talking about the Carolina Hurricanes, like holy smokes, that would be like the Globetrotters there in the back end. But I just don't. I think it's a tough deal to be making. You got to be really sure of this one because it could really handcuff any kind of window you have for a long period of time. And again, there's an ultra. Again, I think we joked a little bit about naming two defenses, like have a
big risk, too much money for Carlson.
Actually play defense. Either be Slavin, and it's not a knock on him. It's great, or Pietrangelo is more balanced, and a guy that's just an incredible offenseman that just throws.
And Carlson's not really a must-have. He's more of a nice-to-have.
That's tough playoff series and playing solid D.
Right. I mean, it's been a while since we've seen him in the playoffs, but I think about 19 in San Jose.
I think San Jose is going to have to eat half his salary.
On a bad foot, but as you say, now he's 33 years old. History.
And there's risk that comes with Carlson too. I mean, the year before last, he wasn't that good. For a couple of years, people thought he was done.
Clearly, the conversation, it's not an easy one or a simple one with regards to the future of Erik Carlson. No.
So he has to be like double retention, right? And you need half for San Jose and then another half for another team. And then what kind of prospects are coming back? What contender, how many, has those kind of prospects to go the other way? I don't know. He was injured, though. I know, but he was injured in his final year in Ottawa, right? And he had that surgery off season. He came to San Jose, and he was recovering from injury really for like 2-3 seasons there. And then he blew up last season. But which season is last year the outlier or the norm? Because he's 33 again. You think he's going to put up another season like this? I don't know. I think there's a lot of risk that goes with Carlson. Again, not that I don't want him. I just don't see him as a must-have need, especially at that price. And the price when it comes to retention and what you might have to pay for him. That's just me.
Watch out for himself and be paying for half of his salary for a player he doesn't have that makes significant money.
Wow, these guys are incredibly negative. Do you have any positive
They
to
are.
say?
I'm going to say a little bit of a different take on things.
Okay.
Yeah, Brewer's a little hesitant to take.
So they're still talking about Carlson. I really don't like this analyst in the red jacket for Sportsnet. Most of the time.
The career that he's had, even if it's on the second power play unit, he can get a lot of minutes and make a second.
Obviously, Carlson's going to be amazing on the power play, right? But you see less penalties in the playoffs as well. It's more about 5-on-5 and defense and tight checking. And we saw Carlson take Ottawa all the way to what was it, the semifinals that year. But that was before he got that serious injury, right? And it literally took a bone out of his ankle. And he went to San Jose for like 3 years and was like, was okay. And then he exploded last year. So at 33 years old, what am I getting? First of all, hopefully he'll be healthy the whole season and be like he was the past season. And then what am I giving up? Because he makes $11.5 million, right? So that's my problem with him. I actually think any team that taking Carlson wouldn't have to overpay. Whatever picks they give up would be for retention.
$2 million in performance bonuses. Max Pacioretty.
Max Pacioretty, yeah. Okay, we talked about that already. 2 million
Max
plus 2 million in bonuses to Washington.
Both coming off serious injuries and both finding one-year deals, which is good because I'd love to see these guys back.
Patch scored 3 goals.
Again, another player that I think the Leafs could have picked up on for $2 million. That's a decent contract for Max Pacioretty with the risk involved.
Elevates, you know, the secondary scoring, I guess, if you want to call it that, in Washington, where you went.
Washington.
So you got the OV angle, and then you got him as another threat.
I don't know. I don't think San Jose is necessarily going to give away Carlson for free, right? They want something for him, but because he makes so much money, how do they not retain like half his salary? You know, and if I know at least they want at least something back, but I think it's pretty obvious that anyone who wants him and he only wants to go to a contender don't have that, you know, the kind of prospect pool, an attractive one anyways. So yeah, maybe you're right, Manning. Maybe San Jose will just have to be happy with, you know, a second and a third or something from some team. Yeah, it is a very unique situation. Yeah. Who are we talking about now? Tarasenko.
Yeah.
Talking about Tarasenko now.
Expectation, right? We talked about it at the beginning was guys are going
Oh, he's in Chicago. Didn't he just sign with Chicago? Or he's been rumored to go to Chicago.
What did he want from the Blues when he was still with them? He wanted longer term for more money. And what he's finding out is that it's not there at the end of the day. So I think it probably takes guys until, listen, he's going to find a landing spot. And
I think Tarasenko is going to chase the money instead of the cup. So I think that's why he's been rumored in Chicago. All of a sudden, you see, you know, Perry signs to Chicago for $4 million. Foligno signs for $4 million. I know they want to surround Berard with some players, but you know, I don't think they're making the playoffs either. Hull signs or is traded there.
Which is very interesting. And Alex Killorn, poor Alex Killorn, in the sense he has the most points of any available free agent, and his name hasn't really been out there from center just of yet.
Killorn's.
So we just saw the list of availables.
Yeah, I know. They way overpaid Perry and Foligno, like way overpaid them. And even if you want to trade them for picks at the deadline, because I think some of them might be 2-year deals. Foligno's a 1 year. Perry, I'm not so sure. It might be a 2. But maybe it's just a 1. But still, like, it's still $2 million for Perry. That's still hard to fit under the cap. You'd have to get another team involved. You know, why wouldn't you just sign him for like $3 million? I think would have been fair, right? And that would have been much more manageable, $1 million less. So I don't know. I think Chicago made a bit of a boo-boo there. The idea is good, but I think they really, that's a bit, I know they had to overpay them, but in terms of flipping them later, I think that might hurt them. So I don't know. We'll see. Now we're talking about Bunting, who's likely not going back to Toronto. He's probably going to demand, I would think, around, I would say at least $3.5 million, anywhere up to 4.5. And I don't think the Leafs will be willing to pay him more than 2.5.
Complimentary guys, how to find guys that play his style of game. That's a rat and a pest. You know, who will play against, even the refs don't like him. But it's like a situation where I think he'll be a coveted guy just because of the intangibles that he can bring up and down the lineup, versatility, ability to produce, but also affecting differently.
Right, like you can play with top players. So if you want to fill some spots, you're looking at I'm not intrigued too with Domi. I think Domi's a player who showed that going to Dallas, and he has some really.
Domi was a good fit in Chicago. He was good in Dallas, obviously.
Candidate that I'd say I'm surprised hasn't gone at this point.
I also hear Toronto's looking into him.
Chicago's leading scorer when they moved him at the trade deadline. So he was
for the right price, I wouldn't mind Domi.
Remember, they were in such turmoil there.
Domi and Reeves on the same team.
Getting them all the way to the Western Conference Final. So you got Bunting, you got Domi. Let a little Domi let right here. Is there a good landing spot for Masoli? I thought, you know what? Maybe he'll go back to Chicago. They liked him there. He liked it there. He likes the spotlight. He's not afraid of the spotlight. And now they've got Connor Bedard, Polino, Taylor Hall.
Yeah, you found that Bunting was expendable. Yeah, in the playoffs. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I would love Domi in Toronto. I could just dust off my old jersey. That's cool. That's funny. You're speaking of his dad's jersey, I'd imagine.
Sometimes for me, he leans too heavily on the offensive, trying to be kind of fancy and slow things down and saucer pass here and there. But with Dallas, he played straight line and played hard. And that's
yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing. I wouldn't mind seeing Domi replace Bunting, if the price is right, obviously.
For me, I look at a guy like JT Compton.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, God, sorry. Needs more beer. That's what that means. Cheers, everyone. Please don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I'd appreciate it. What am I drinking, you ask? I'm glad you asked. Well, this isn't my favorite brewery. It's a Category 12. Juicy Data Hazy IPA. It's a decent beer. Not a great beer. So they're on the they just mentioned Comfort again, where he might go. I'm just refreshing Cap Friendly here because Twitter looks like it's still down. Recent signings: Matt Pacioretty, Carson Soucy. Vancouver doing a nice tidy little bit of work there.
Those kind of moves to add those kind of guys. Killorn's like right in that pattern, right? To come in around the net, play in straight lines, add kind of to the bottom of the lineup, but can still play on the power play and be a difference maker.
Championship pedigree.
Yeah. Comes with his jet skis.
I can't believe Carolina paid Orlov so much money. I guess it's because of the it's only 2 years, but still for Carolina especially. Ryan Reeves, 3 years at 4.05. Ryan O'Reilly, 4 years at 18. Slow down. Van Riemsdyk, 1 year at $1 million. Wheeler at $800K. What a steal to the Rangers. Quick, 1 year at $825 to the Rangers. Frederick Anderson, 2 years, 6.8 to Carolina. Korpisalo to Ottawa for $4 million a year AAV for 5 years, I think. Yeah. That's just a very quick recap there of what's happened. Let me turn down the volume here. We're in a commercial break here for a second. Manning is saying, I do 3 times 3 for Domi if he'd take that. Yeah, I guess that's reasonable for him. Yeah. Reeves at 1.25. Can't agree with you there. I really hate the term. Really hate the 3 years. If it was 1 year, maybe I'd be okay with it. At 3 years, he's 36 years old, and he's averaging, 9 minutes a night. And in the third period, it goes down to like 5 or 4 minutes. And the playoffs, I don't know. He's got a lot of intangibles, which he brings, obviously. Gives him some swagger. I don't know. I want a big, tough guy in the top 9, not a guy who's just going to punch people necessarily. That's why I liked Shen. He could play. He was a good fit with Riley, and he can kick your ass if you needed one, Yeah, he's 36. Yeah. Connor Brown. I'm trying to find him here on the cat friendly list. Beep, 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 beep. It's getting longer by the second. 36 years old. Yeah, and he's 37 in January too. Ryan Reeves, I'm speaking about. So, he was for Minnesota in 61 games. He had 15 points and was a -1 in 31 penalty minutes. What's Manning saying here? I got to catch up. Damn, Blake Wheeler for $800K. Yeah, I know. I think that's a Ranger specialty price though. But it's again, you wish your like the Leafs or Vegas could have got a player like that for that kind of money. He's Wayne Simmons 2.0, Ryan Reeves, yeah. And apparently they can bury most of his contract if they need to, with only about $100,000 counting against the cap. So there is that for Reeves. But just freaking 3 seasons? You couldn't get him for like $1 million for 2? Maybe I would be more okay with that, perhaps. I just don't see him playing him as much when the games really count. That's all. Yeah, he could be waived, buried. Yeah, he can be. Yeah, I think it's only about $100,000 counts against the cap. Yeah. We're on a commercial still here on Sportsnet. I'm just trying to refresh some of my feed back at Cap Friendly. A bunch of no-name guys. Tokarski in Buffalo, 1 year, 7.75. Denisenko, Grigio Denisenko, winger, Florida, 2 years at 7.75. Manning says, yeah, I guess it's pretty low risk. I won't pretend to understand all the cap implications, but if they do bury him, I think it only counts for $100,000 against the cap. It's just that, I don't know. Like I would have really liked Achari, Shen, Ryan O'Reilly, 3 players I would really like back. I really would have liked them to get Radko Gudas and Soucy, 2 heavy defensemen who are really great in the playoffs. They missed out on those guys. So I'm just like, what are you doing, Trevling? Like, what's happening here? Is he just on the phone with Matthews the whole time? I don't. Anyway, so we're back. Oh, talking about Lucic. Is it official back in Boston? Yes, it is. 1 year, $1 million. He's back. Lucic is back in Boston.
You picked up the phone. You've never been to the World Championship. Picked up the phone and called Army.
That's kind of nice, but I mean, who knows what Boston's going to be like next year, right? Yeah, we really need a big D man. I feel like they need a couple of really good, grinding, tough to play against defensemen in Toronto. And I think missing out on Gudas and Soucy, especially because I think that term and price was a lot better under their cap, was hard to take, right? Shen, the term and the money was a little much for him. Although I really liked him. Gudas at $4 million, and he's like 34 years old too. But at Soucy, I would have paid him that. Now they're talking to Lucic about going back to Boston for $1 million. What kind of? That's a big question, right? What kind of team is Boston going to be next year? With no Krejci, probably no Bergeron. Whispers of Marchand being moved. Mike Riley has already been gone somewhere else. I can't remember. Who really cares though? I think it's Boston or Anaheim. Hull gone to Chicago. Orlov is gone to Carolina. I think this is the first signing I've heard for Boston so far. The Milan Lucic.
We just had Revo on, big Revo in Toronto, Boston, Toronto, the big Luch. We saw your
no Taylor Hall. Yeah.
Of what you guys are able to do, though. What are you expecting from that?
I was talking about the future.
Yeah, I'm Don King.
You know what? It's a natural rivalry. It's Toronto, Boston.
Ooh, Lucic Reeves fight.
I think it just amps it up, and I think it's good for the game. I mean, two great markets, historic markets with two.
Lucic has this like hunch, like this super big, like what do you call him? The Hunchback of Notre Dame. He's got this. He walks around like this all the time. So and he's got the big chest. He just.
We're gonna do whatever we need to do to help our team win.
And when he skates on the ice, his pads like amplify it. So he's just like this. He just walks around when he skates. It's funny, but he can sure beat some ass still. Okay, now it's just nostalgia. They're still talking to Lucic. Can we refresh anything new here? Let's go to Cat Friendly. Thank God Cat Friendly hasn't crashed. So Connor Sheary has officially signed with the Tampa Bay Lightning on a 1 year. On a 3-year deal. He's 31, by the way. For $2 million AAV. So let's just take a quick look at that. Carson Salcy, by the way, again, is 3 years at 3.25. A contender should have been able to pay him that. I mean, that's right on the edge there. I think he'd be worth it. Back to Connor Sheary, though. Connor Salcy, by the way, Carson Salcy is 28 years old. Connor Sheary, who's 31, who spent the last few years with Washington. Last year, Washington, he had 15 goals, 37 points in 82 games. Played all 82. Wow. In 71 games the year before that, he had 19 goals, 43 points. Breaking news. Oh, they're talking about Connor Sheary now, too.
3 years, $2 million is the AAV. In Florida gets a defenseman, Nico Mikkola. 3 years, 2.5 AAV on that.
And look, we're expecting Michael Bunting to go to Carolina, but we don't have it.
Did Florida just pick up Mikkola?
But it's
the Panthers.
Kevin reported it's a 3-year deal, so
from the Rangers.
Just waiting to for it to officially.
And Bunting to Carolina on a 3-year deal.
And Jeff suggesting that Michael Bunting could be on his way there as well. I can tell you at the top of the hour or at the bottom. Of the
It's
hour,
not official yet for Bunting.
A little Canada Day special coming your way on Sportsnet. Still some business to take care of, though. Lots of big names available. Keep it locked here. Signing season.
So Bunting is rumored to be going to Carolina. It looks like that could happen on a 3-year deal. We're on commercial now. So Connor Sheary, $2 million per year. I think that's a good value deal for Tampa. Who knows? He could probably play up and down in probably the middle six, right? Obviously 5'8", not a big guy. He's getting up there in age, but he can probably score you at least, I would think, 15 goals. He's been doing that the past 3 seasons, really. All with Washington, playing on the, I want to say, the third line, and occasionally on the second. So yeah, his career sort of rebounded there. Gustav Lindstrom just signed a 1 year, 950. Hoham. I don't even know who this guy is. Bokonji Ima, 26-year-old, signed a 2-way deal, $775,000. Who cares? For Ottawa. Yeah. All right. And we're just hearing Bunting might sign in Carolina. We're on Sportsnet feed. If you just popped in, we're just on commercial, and I'm drinking beer. Yes. That's a morning beer for me, by the way. It's about just after 11 a.m., so I will turn on the go light for that. That's the closest I could get to a goal light, by the way. So real goal lights are like really expensive. Go check Amazon. They want like $300 plus for one. It's yikes. Maybe I can find one at a garage sale. If you find one, please. My birthday is in June. There's Christmas. Okay. Commercial. Let's refresh some of these feeds. Why are my legs hurt? I'm sitting down. I don't understand. Oh. Getting old. Ryan, you're not much younger than I am, too. Ryan, you still there? Ryan Spedding? Did you go for a nap? Okay, still on commercial. Let's see if Twitter is still down. Twitter's been down for a while. Oh, are we up? No, we're still we're kind of back. Why did I hit Twitter and it take me to? Okay. Twitter's still down, man. Okay, we're back to the program.
The Chicago Blackhawks. Yes, they've added some great veteran players, but it's the young guy we just witnessed, Connor Bedard. The first time the CHL has had a player sweep the awards top.
And we're talking about Chicago now here.
Outstanding player, Connor Bedard. So the question is, they've added some players, right, Jen? They've added Corey Perry and Taylor Hall and who else could they add? There's a bunch of free agents.
Perry, Hall, Foligno. Talking about who else might join Chicago now.
I mean, it'd be great because I feel like they still have a little bit of room, but I do think that addition of Hall, I think potentially they could play together, and I think
Ryan Spedding says still kicking here. All right. Just trying to figure out how Van gets under the cap. We're now over with all these signings. I wasn't. Yeah, thank you for chipping in with that information. That will be interesting. Yeah. Well, they finally trade JT Miller after extending him for 8 years. Yeah. Who do you think might be going out the door, Ryan? Let me know your thoughts there. I'd be really interested in hearing them. In the meantime, we're gonna listen to.
was more of a shooter. Rodriguez could be a good fit.
They're talking about Evan Rodriguez and Tarasenko to Chicago, possibly.
That can help insulate him, and it isn't enough just to bring in Hall. You're going to need someone on that second line to take some of that pressure off of him as well. Because right now they're really thin up front.
They're talking about taking pressure off of Connor Bedard.
Like, who's going to be on their power play? What do you got? And thank goodness they brought in the guys they brought in, the Perrys, Folignos, Halls. Because other than that, it's Bedard and Seth Jones, and it's like, what are they going to be? What are they going to do? Like, it's.
I love Colby Armstrong. He's gotten better over the years as a commentator of not just talking fluff, and speaking his mind and being really honest and cutting through the BS.
He's had injury-riddled seasons. A few years ago through Pittsburgh, and it was challenging.
Who are they talking about now?
I watched him every game, and I mean, this guy was hard.
They're talking about Zucker,
as well, so
and possibly as Chicago picking him up. I didn't even realize he was an FA.
Members of the Nashville Predators on the phone. Luke Shen, the bruising defenseman.
They're talking to Luke Shen now. Spedding, just trying to figure out how Van gets under the cap. Garland has been rumored all summer long. Garland, yeah, that's a good.
Everyone probably thought
that's a good thought for sure.
Your lake house in Kelowna career would be done a few years ago. How good do you feel coming back, playing the way you have, working on your game, finding yourselves in situations also since the cup and
this is Colby talking to Luke Shen.
Not only anywhere, but in Nashville, baby. I know you're gonna love that place, right? That's up your alley.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's roller coaster of a career, to say the least. I mean, it's been, you know, when you get drafted into the league and you kind of, in your mind, you think it's going to go a certain way. It's pretty much gone.
I don't want to bore everybody with Shen talk.
At the end of the day, I wouldn't change a thing. I've had a lot of great experiences and, you know, had some.
I mean, hockey interviews are so effing boring most of the time.
Try to continue to work at my game. I think, you know, one of the things.
I know Leafs really tried to sign this guy.
The game has changed along the way, and I've, you know, tried to have to figure
But
out ways to
in going to Nashville, you're basically giving up on the cup. Let's be honest, right? I mean, the free agent season isn't done, but
been quite the journey.
it looks like a rebuild that's happening there right now, or at the very least a retool.
It's a good league, isn't it, Shenner? Congrats.
It's a great league. Yeah, you drove that in my head.
So he got his money, but yeah, I don't see.
In your family, and you know, how have you been able to become the leader that you are?
Anyways, the boring questions for Shen. Just they're trying to fill time now. Yeah. When you're a defenseman like that, you're basically, I guess you're just looking for money at this point and term. And that's what Gudas did. That's what Shen did. That's what Soucy did, but I don't see why Soucy wasn't valued differently. I think he's more valuable. I think Carson Soucy is more valuable from a hockey playing perspective than just, you know, fisticuffs. Obviously, I know Shen brings that, but I can see why Soucy is a higher paid player, and I'd be willing to go to $3 million for Soucy, because he's big and he's heavy, and although he's not, you know, Mr. Punch you in the face necessarily, he can play better. And I think Gudas is an overpay. Soucy, I think, is kind of just right-ish. So I kind of don't get why contenders a contender didn't land him more than Van.
Essentially wanted to know, you know, what makes you the pro you are and how you pay it for.
Oh my God, more fluff questions. Yay. Okay, now you know when it's like they're trying to fill time when talking to hockey players. What do you expect to do with that? Okay, Justin Hull just signs with the Detroit Red Wings on a 3-year deal worth $3.4 million. Wow. Okay, well, I guess I value him as, I guess a $3 million. I guess that's okay. If you have a little bit more cap space like Detroit does. I mean, I know Hull was kind of torched a lot in Toronto, but he did a decent job most of the time. The problem is he plays way too high in the lineup, right? He's a number 5. He's a bottom pairing defenseman if you're serious about being a contender. And a bottom pairing defenseman should not be making more than $2 million on a contender. So in Detroit at 3.4, okay, because he's a great penalty killer too and stuff. So they're still talking to Shen here on Sportsnet. So that's it. Justin Hull's 31 years old. I kind of didn't realize. I knew he was old. I didn't know he was that old. He's 31. So good. Yeah. 3-year deal. Good for him. 3.4 goes to Detroit in the division. That irks me maybe just a little bit, but I'm glad the Leafs didn't resign him, even though he isn't as bad as people say he is. It's just that they haven't been able to slot him properly, right? And I'm sure Manning would agree with that. Are they still trying to squeeze the blood out of the stone with the Shen interview? Yeah. Okay. Patrick Brown signs with Boston, 31-year-old at 2 years at $800K. Don't be honest, that's unconfirmed. I don't really know who Patrick Brown is. He's 5'11", 214 pounds. Wow, that's a pretty thick guy. Where did he play last? He played in Ottawa and Philly last year. 18 games for Ottawa with 5 points. 43 games with Philly with 7 points. Okay, so he's a fourth line plugger. That's as exciting as I thought it would be. Anything else that's new here? No, let's refresh this. Twitter is still so Kevin Weeks says Bunting's getting a 3-year contract. I know we already talked about that. Oh yeah, so here we go. So Nashville, 4 years for O'Reilly at $18 million. And then 3 years for Shen at 8.25. And then Nyquist, I can't remember. They took the number off there too fast. And I don't see him. Where's Nyquist on Cap Friendly? Oh, there he is. Nyquist, 33 years old, signed a 2-year deal worth $3.185 in Nashville. Let's look at his numbers from last season. He went to Minnesota for 3 games and he had 5 points. Wow. In 6 playoff games, he also had 5 points. Wow. With Columbus in 48 games, he had 22 points, 10 of them goals.
Season in just a matter of moments. More news to break with Elliot and Jeff. It's all coming your way. That's next.
So the Sportsnet coverage, I think, ends around 11:30. Ends around 10 or so minutes from now. I think I'm going to hang on till about until about another, at least another 40 minutes. I think, to see what comes through the pipeline here. I'll turn down the commercial sound so you can hear me. Yeah, so Nyquist, yeah, so and then in 2021-22 with Columbus in 82 games, he had 18 goals, 53 points. He did well for Minnesota in the playoffs. So, I mean, this definitely seems like a retool right now for Nashville, but I still think it's very iffy if they make the playoffs, even with Ryan O'Reilly. I mean, he's basically now the first line center, right? With Forsling. Duchesne's gone. Johansson's gone. Who was the guy they traded out towards the trade deadline to Pittsburgh? Oh my God, I'm having a brain fart. Help me out here. He went to winger. No, centerman. He does both. He's a Finn. He's from Finland. It's Ryan Spedding just sending me a message here. Okay. Okay. Oh, what happened? Did I hit the pause button by accident? Okay. Still in commercial. Oh. And we're back to the Sportsnet program. Oh, looks like we have an update here.
No confirmation yet on the terms, but the word is that Miles Wood, who was in New Jersey last year, is headed to the Colorado Avalanche. We'll see what the terms.
Miles Woods of
Okay, a couple
Colorado.
of players that have our eyes on still. Tyler Bertuzzi, a number of teams still interested there, obviously. We talked earlier about the Toronto Maple Leafs and Tyler Bertuzzi. There is interest there. We can report that's not exactly news.
Tyler Bertuzzi,
Max Domi
Toronto.
as well. Toronto believed to be interested.
Max
there as well.
Domi in
One
Toronto
team
as well.
to keep an eye on with players like Tyler Bertuzzi and Max Domi are the Dallas Stars. You know, Jim Mill's team got
Heavily rumored.
really close this past season, and I think Jim Mill
Not
prepared to
confirmed.
do whatever it takes to take that Stars team to the next level.
Some other names to keep an eye on that we still don't have clarity yet: JT Compher, Alex Killorn, Brian Dumoulin, and I still think that this is a day to monitor Erik Karlsson. I think Carolina's in this, and I think Pittsburgh's in this.
Oh, Carolina and Pittsburgh.
I always assume there could be more, but it's a really complicated thing
Might
to
be
do.
in the
But I think
Erik
those two-
Karlsson.
those two teams are two of the teams trying to do something. All right, follow Elliot and Jeff on Twitter if you have
lottery.
If you can. Yeah, if you can.
Let's head out to the boardroom. Final
No, that's
thoughts
head.
from Kyle, Jason, and Mike. Gentlemen.
Yeah, Dave. Well, you heard the newsbreakers kind of run through some of the names that are still available. Who are the ones that still are catching your eye?
Just kidding.
So I think I'll go from one live feed to another if I can. I might. Sportsnet's winding down, but I may try and find. I might go to either Hockey News or Daily Faceoff. I think is.
As we start to spend whatever's left in our budget, team identity is really important here. So if I'm a contending team for next year, and I'm going to add, I got some cap space, I might be looking at the Matt Duchene situation. I think that if you insulate him properly in your room, for whatever reason, I don't think he's an alpha dog in the room. He's not a leader in the room, not a guy that can get you necessarily over the top, but I think he can be a 2.5, and that's a name to watch.
All right. Okay, let's go back to Jeff and Elliot.
Okay, you love Daniel Sprong.
Daniel Sprong's going to the Detroit Red Wings. It is a 1-year deal, $2 million.
And
Sprong Red
Duchene
Wings.
is going to Dallas. That is 1 year.
Duchene to Dallas.
Rivalry battle, Nashville and Dallas, when Matt Duchene takes on his former team. Meanwhile, let's talk about rivalries. October 29th.
Duchene to Dallas, huh? And it sounds like, did he say 1 year, $3 million?
They say you're on a track. But there are no pensions to count on, no promises anymore.
Frederick Anderson, by the way, is 2 years at $3.4 million in Carolina. So it looks like Duchene, I think, there's a commercial here. Duchene signed a 1 year deal in Dallas. I think I heard $3 million. And then Daniel Sprong, I think what did he say? Detroit signed him to a 1 or 2 year deal. So we'll get some confirmation on that soon, obviously. I think, again, Sportsnet is wrapping up their feed here, but I'll try and find another one that's looking at the ticker. I'm just doing a little research here. Okay. It's funny. Daily Faceoff has a direct link to their live show on Cap Friendly, but not on their website. That's funny. Okay. All right. So okay. So all right. So we're still on Sportsnet feed here. And we are excuse me. I was up at I'm on Pacific time, and I got up at 6 a.m. And yeah, not really a morning person, as you probably could tell. Oh, one of my knees are killing me. Getting old. Oh, do little stretches here. Excuse me. A little stretch. Oh. Okay. There we go. All right. Oh. Okay. Cherries. Anyone? No. Okay. We're back.
Many big names on the board. What's enticing as we roll on and finish it off the air, Jennifer?
What's enticing? I mean, there's lots that's still intriguing, but I think the Domi and Killorn pair that I think could add a lot to your potential top six in your lineup or your third line if necessary.
Definitely for me, JT Compher. Where is he going to end up landing? Tarasenko, another one as well. Very interesting.
And we touched on a player like Jason Zucker too, and you know what he can do for your room, what he can do for your lineup, where he can position himself in the lineup as well. So a lot of these kind of character players that can produce are still available for teams.
I also like Nashville, right? They've been busy, but is there a few more splashes that they might make here with some players available?
And the big splash will be Erik Karlsson, Alex DeBrincat. I started the show saying I can't wait to see what happens. We're still waiting to see what happens with two big potential could be blockbusters rolling your way. When the dust does settle, we're back in October, ready to rock for real. And it all starts October 11th, including the Habs and the Leafs, Scotiabank Wednesday Night Hockey. Of course, our staple is back, Hockey Night.
Looks like Sportsnet's winding down here.
Full slate of games there.
I think I'm going to stick around and for longer.
That seems like so long from now. Thanks everyone for watching the NHL on Sportsnet all season long. We appreciate you welcoming us into your living rooms, onto your phones, all the latest draft pickups and everything else, all the different trades of money.
Okay, so Sportsnet's done. I'm going to go to another feed here.
Daily face-off throughout the day. We'll chat with Matt Larkin, Nick Alberga. We'll have the Players Room with Jay Rose and Mike McKenna.
If you'd like to know, I got daily face-off here.
Part of our trade deadline coverage. And most importantly, we will have our NHL insider, Frank Saravalli, along for the ride. Frank, free agency couple
Okay, with
underway.
Frank Saravalli is going to be our guy for the next little bit.
Maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, what's the craziness level for today? Is it low or
Okay.
in all of those buyouts and non-qualifies? That maybe adds some.
Okay, so we got something official on Matt Duchene here. He's 32, by the way, plays wing and center. Signing in Dallas only for a 1-year deal for $3 million. I guess he's hoping to cash in the season afterwards. I see Dallas as a contender every year, maybe not one of the top 6 teams for sure, but they're close. So I think that's a big one. Adding Matt Duchene, that's pretty good for them. Again, that's 1 year, $3 million. That's a pretty decent pickup. I'm sure a lot of other teams are kicking themselves for not getting Duchene at that price. Although Matt Duchene isn't exactly the most defensive dynamo you might be looking for in most cases. And we got an official on Daniel Sprong here at 1 year for $2 million in Detroit. Surprised he didn't go back to Seattle. He's 26, by the way. Daniel Sprong last season for Seattle in 66 games had 21 goals and 46 points. Playing on, was it fourth line minutes? They had an amazing, probably the best fourth line, at least the most highest scoring one in the regular season. In the playoffs, in 10 games, he had 1 goal, 2 points, -3. Meh. Yeah.
Not really the case anymore, and I think there's going to be plenty of action to start. But I can tell you, having done this for a while,
Going back to Frank Saravalli here.
A long list of deals that are already in the bucket and completed. And I can tell you that there's a handful, but it's not like it normally is. So what that means to me is there's going to be a lot that develops throughout the course of today. But there are
Troy Stetcher, ho hum, whatever, signs with Arizona, 1 year, $1.1 million. They need some players.
Yeah, so 2 weeks ago, Daily Face-Off Live.
Matt Nieto, 30 years old, winger, signed with Pittsburgh at a 2-year deal. Wow, at $900,000. That's not bad. Maybe the term is a little much, but what did he do last year? He was with between Colorado and San Jose. In the playoffs in 7 games, he did nothing. He got 2 penalty minutes. That's what he did. During 36 games with Colorado, he had 4 goals, 9 points. He was a +7. In 45 games with San Jose, he had 8 goals, 15 points, -22. So just a depth addition for Pittsburgh, really. It's kind of worse than I thought. Sam Steele just signed a 1-year, $850,000 deal with Dallas, former first-round pick of Toronto Maple Leafs, then the Anaheim Ducks when they traded for the pick for Frederik Andersen. So I think he re-signs Sam Steele. Was he in Minnesota maybe last year? Yeah, he was in Minnesota last year. Been in Anaheim his whole career, then went to Minnesota last year. In 65 games, he had 10 goals, 28 points. Playoffs in 5 games, he had 1 goal, 2 points.
But Frank, they also want to know about Ryan Reeves. What can you tell us about the Reeves to Leafs one?
Yeah, Ryan Reeves.
Talking about Ryan Reeves.
Expected to head to the Toronto Maple Leafs.
We know this already.
The actual AAV has been worked out yet, but it will.
What is this? An old feed?
Be a 3-year deal, somewhere between 1-1. Before you get to the ball, turn it. One shot. One shot. That's how long it takes.
Dead straight. And walk.
One shot. That's why it's called.
Oh, is this feed done? Is the daily face-off feed done? Really? Huh. Okay. So, am I the last person standing here or what? Live hockey feeds. Let's just... Hockey. Let's see if the hockey news has... let's keep up with Cat Friendly here. Let's just see what we got. I'm probably gonna stick around for at least another just over 20 minutes. We have some bottom 6 guys kind of creeping in here. Drake Kagulia signed, a 29-year-old winger signed with Edmonton for $775,000 for a 1-year deal. Josh Archibald, 30-year-old winger, signed with Tampa Bay on a 2-year deal worth $800,000 AAV. These are all AAVs, by the way. I don't do totals. I find that kind of useless. Why make you do math? Why make me do math? Lucas Carlson, age 25, left shot defenseman, signed with Florida on a 1-year deal worth $775,000. So all bottom pairing guys there, including Steele. Kind of surprised Sprong. I guess he sort of cashed in with Detroit, but he didn't stay with Seattle for another season because he was putting up some really good numbers there. I guess they didn't even want to give him $2 million, huh? Yikes. Even after, like, was it a 15-goal season? Or is it more like 19? No, 21. He had 21 goals playing like an average of just over 10 minutes a night, I think. Maybe 12, 13. Still, he's a 4th-line player. That is very surprising. After In Washington, he didn't seem to do much. His first season there in 2021, he had 13 goals, 20 points. So it was a real breakout season for him. I'm surprised he didn't stay with the Kraken. Jason Zucker just signs a 1-year deal. Oh my God. Why did he sign in Arizona? I guess that's the most at $5.3 million. Wow. Talk about chasing the money there. I guess he's hoping he's going to get traded at the trade deadline for half that for 50% retention. That's got to be it. I don't see why. I mean, he's kind of like a middle six player. Obviously, Zucker's 31 years old. He plays both wings. Again, a 1-year, $5.3 million that he signs in Arizona. He's 5'11", 192 pounds from California. Drafted by Minnesota. In Pittsburgh last season in 78 games, he had 27 goals, 48 points. Really good bounce back season, -4. This season, he had no playoffs because Pittsburgh wasn't in the playoffs. The season before that, in 41 games, he had 8 goals, 17 points, -2. Season before that, in 38 games, 9 goals, 18 points. He just was injured all the time in Pittsburgh, besides last year, and then just sort of broke out last year. That's his highest goal total since 2017-18 in Minnesota, where he had 33, the highest of his career. But it is the 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the 5th time he scored more than 20 goals a season. And it's the 2nd time he scored more than 25 goals a season. So he cashed in on a 1-year deal with Arizona. Obviously, I would assume he gets traded out at the deadline for half the price, right? 50% retention. Oh, and here we go. Michael Bunting. It's official. We have a 3-year deal for Michael Bunting, the 27-year-old left winger, for Carolina at $3.5 million AAV. Huh. Okay. That's not as bad as I thought. He might get a bit more than that. I guess Toronto didn't want to go that high. And if the cap wasn't so bad, maybe they would have gone the 3.5. But that's not too bad of a deal for Carolina. I thought he might get even like 4 or a tiny bit more than 4. So last year, last couple of years, seasons in Toronto. Last season in Toronto, he in 82 games, he had 23 goals, 49 points. The year before that, he in 79 games, he had 23 goals again, and 63 points. 27 penalty minutes. Last year's playoff in 7 games, he had 1 goal, 2 points, -1. In 6 games in the playoffs the season before that, he had 1 goal, 3 points, -1. Not a bad pickup for Arizona at that price. If you could fit him under it, maybe Toronto would have taken him for. I mean, he's a 20-goal scorer. You got to pay him at least $3 million, right? So yeah, good for Carolina. Yeah, what are they? So now they've got Carolina, Frederik Andersen. They've picked up as well, and they picked up Orlov. So Carolina's got to be shipping some players out, I think. They also signed Antti Ranta and Jesper Fast. Jesper Fast, by the way, was signed to a 2-year deal at $2.4 million per season. Antti Ranta was signed on a 1-year deal worth $1.5. Huh. Interesting. Okay. So let's go to Carolina here for a second. They still have apparently $3.8 million in cap space. Huh. I thought they were tighter than that. Interesting stuff. Okay, so and I know they have to re-sign Araujo at some point, or does he have? Yeah, he's in the last year of his contract. He's going to cost them more than 8.4 than what he's getting now. I would think he's going to get at least 9.5. Araujo. Huh. If he's coming off just an 8.4. I still value him around the same amount of money, to be honest. Although he's their leading scorer and everything. In 75 games, Araujo had 36 goals, 67 points. 15 playoff games, 5 goals, 12 points. That's pretty good. Yeah. Carolina's got to be making some trades at some point here. Tyler Pitlick signs with the Rangers at 31. He's 31 years old. He's a winger. Signs with the Rangers. 1 year, $7,875, $100,000. Ho hum. Again, Matt Irwin, a left shot, right shot defenseman at 35, signs with Vancouver. There you go, Spedding. At the minimum, $775. I guess that is the minimum now. It's a 2-way deal, 1-year contract. Matt Irwin's also an old Preds player. He was with Washington the past couple seasons, though, and then Buffalo and Anaheim, and then Nashville. So that shows you how far behind I am. Obviously, a very, very depth defenseman. But there you have it. I'm probably going to wrap up here in the next 14. I got 14 minutes left. I'll stay till noon my time, and then we'll call it quits. Is Twitter up? Is Twitter back up? It does. Twitter is sort of still down. Andy and Rono are saying if Bunting's cap hit is under $5 million, the Hurricanes are definitely winners of free agency by far. So it looks like it might be like a Bunting, Aho, Jarvis first line in Carolina. Svechnikov, KK, and Neches on the second line. Yeah, good for Carolina. I don't know if they'll be moving pieces, though. At least he's not in the same division from a Toronto perspective, right? Where are we going here? Yeah, okay, so we're checking Twitter. We are checking the score. All the live feeds seem to be down. Yeah, nothing much left here on the score. It's like they knew all Sportsnet, all the coverage was going down, so all the general managers put down their phones, right? Unbelievable. I'm sure we'll hear stuff generally squeeze in through the rest of the day. I'm gonna finish this before the end of the feed. Yeah. Let's go to let's open another feed here. Let's multi-feed. Let's go to Sportsnet. So Carolina overpays on Orlov, underpays on Bunting somewhat. So let's look to the Miles Wood signing in Colorado. I don't have a term or cap hit on that yet. That's an interesting ad there. I would assume it would be low. Being a bottom 6 guy, but a useful one. Definitely a character guy to have in the dressing room. Winnipeg signs Delia to a 1-year minimum league deal. Colin Delia's goaltender. Yeah, 29 years old. Who are the goaltenders going to be in Winnipeg if Hellbuck goes? That'll be interesting. Looking at trades. So we have one trade that I missed here. New Jersey acquires Colin Miller from Dallas for a 5th round pick. Earlier today, Joel Edmondson was acquired by Washington from Montreal for a 3rd rounder. For a 3rd and a 7th in 2024, and Montreal also retains half of his salary. Back to signings. Let's do a little refresher here. Counting down the minutes. 9 minutes, folks. 9 minutes. Nothing yet in the feeds. Twitter's really letting us down here. And yeah, score. I need some theme music or something. It's a little too quiet here. Maybe the sound of me gurgling. It's funny because certain aspects of Twitter are working. The search is working, but the feed is not. I think Vancouver had some good pickups today with Johnson in Southsea, especially. I think those are good pickups. Oilers getting Connor Brown was really good. Carolina did well today with Bunting and Orlov. You can argue over the amount of the contracts. Dallas picking up Duchesne was a nice ad. There's still Domi is out there. There's still a bunch of players out there. If you go to JFresh on Ryan Reeves, they go, he signs for 3 times 1.3 by Toronto, is an enforcer. Period. He checks. Period. That's it. Period. Word is he's a good locker room presence as well. Period. He does not have good analytics. Does not. Yeah. Okay. A good point by Jeff Villette here on Twitter as well about Ryan Reeves' contract. He goes, I think a lot of people forget, don't know that Ryan Reeves is 36 now and entering his age 37 season. So this would be a 35 plus contract, meaning that if he retires before it's done, the cap hit remains. In other words, this does not sound good, end quote. Yeah. And I can't even. Wow. Get your act together, Twitter. Of course, Lucic going back to Boston. That should be interesting if the guys ever match up again. That'll be a great fight, Reeves versus Lucic. That's worth the price of admission, even if Boston isn't a good team next year. We're winding down. We got 6 minutes left. 6 minutes. Okay, we have some new signings. Mostly bottom six guys, but Luke Glendening signs with the Tampa Bay Lightning, age 34. He can play all forward positions. Signs a 2-year deal with Tampa at $800,000. Okay. I know he's amazing at faceoffs. He's a sort of a fourth line centerman. He played with Detroit for the longest time. Dallas the past couple of seasons. In 70 games last season with Dallas, he had 3 goals, 6 points. It was a -9. In the playoffs, in 17 games with Dallas, he had 2 goals, 3 points. It was a -5. He's a decent enough bottom six guy, I guess, for that price. You can't complain too much. Cody Glass, who used to be with Vegas, and didn't he go to Buffalo? No. He did go to Nashville. Anyway, so in last year in Nashville, he had 72 games. He had 14 goals, 35 points. Better than I thought, actually. We'll see who he plays with next season because of their most recent signings. But he's 24, a centerman. He signed a 2-year deal worth $2.5 million per year. Another name you might remember is Nick Bononio. 35 years old, a centerman, left winger, signed with the Rangers on a 1-year deal. Good bottom six depth guy, right? 1 year at $800,000. And there's Justin Richards, signed with Buffalo, 25 years old, at minimum 1-year deal. Ho hum. So yeah, so as we're winding down, we got 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Ryan Carpenter signs a 1-year deal with the San Jose Sharks. Okay, at minimum. Nothing new. We got some. Do we have any news on Achari, formerly of the Maple Leafs and St. Louis Blues? I really hope the Leafs get Achari back. Really hope to get Achari back. Leafs are tied to Bertuzzi and maybe Achari, so there's hope there. Okay, so yeah, hopefully there's hope for Toronto that they can fit Achari and Bertuzzi underneath the cap. Twitter, how you failed me today. Going back to the score here. Let's try and refeed. Do they have anything for me? Nothing. We all know Zucker signed a 1-year contract in Arizona. For was it like $5 million? 5.3, yeah. Matt Duchene in Dallas, la 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 la. Red Wings add Justin Hull, James Reimer, Alex Leon. Wait, Detroit added 2 goaltenders? What about their other goalie? Who I can't think of his name right now. Formerly of St. Louis. I'm going to go to Detroit. Husso, right. So it looks, yeah, so it does look like it's going to be Husso and Reimer. Husso's got 2 years left on his contract, by the way. Reimer signed for 1.5 in 1 year. Interesting. Okay. Almost done here. Oh, it's 12 o'clock. There we are. There we have it. Time to wrap it all up right now. I'm just trying to do a little feed, see what we have. Any last minute signings? No, nothing. All like literally bottom 6 guys. Nothing worth mentioning here. Ryan Carpenter, Marian Studenik, right? I think there's a lot more to come. There are a lot of big names out there like Bertuzzi and Domi, Achari, a lot of E's. Defenseman wise, I'm trying to think of who's left. I don't have anybody in my head right now. Shen's gone. Gudis is gone. Celsi's gone. Those were good D's. Hall is gone. Korpius-Salo went to Ottawa. Yeah, I think Tarasenko is still out there. We'll see where he goes. Yeah, so a lot of stuff could still happen. So, unfortunately, I have to end this feed at some point. And, maybe maybe tomorrow, the day after, I'll do a video on some of the bigger signings. But I think we're ready to wrap it up here. Twitter's down. All the hockey feeds seem to be finished. Cat friendly. There's smoke coming out of its ears right now. And I'm just about to down this last bit. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. That's my time. This was kind of a last minute thing that I did for Free Agency Day. So please don't forget to hit that thumbs up for me. Subscribe if you haven't already. Really appreciate that. And yeah, thanks for joining me. You'll see me in the coming days talking about, signings, trades, that kind of thing. So I won't be, I'll be here. I just moved, so I'm still setting up my new studio, as you can tell. I'll maybe give you some stuff. That's what I have so far. Yeah. So it's coming along. So there's that. So yeah, thanks again. Hope to see you soon. And I'm gonna end this stream. Take it easy. Cheers.